going to a limited live chat because TikTok limits me, and we all know it limits me. So I'm just waiting for people to join. Just started this live. Wonder if TikTok's actually going to notify anyone. They don't normally bother. Hello to anyone that's just joined. I just started this live. Just waiting for people to join. Hope you're all okay on this Valentine's Day. If anyone cares, I don't know if people do or not, but so I'm just waiting for people to join. Hello everyone, welcome to another one of these live chats. I've been asked to do one, so if you don't know who I am, I'm the guy that basically debunks pretty much, let's be honest, most people on ancient aliens, modern aliens, that kind of stuff. So that's who I am. So feel free to ask the questions. Andy's joined. Hi Andy, nice of you to join. And Chantel's joined. Oh, bless you guys on this howdy Trish. Oh, bless you. Thank you, Andy. So yes, I have been working as always. I've been doing stuff. Chantel's right. Hi Chantel, nice of you to join. I hope you're all having a good day today on Valentine's Day, and I wish you all the bestest Valentine's Day ever. Thank you, Chantel.
WhatsApp. Someone has sent you a WhatsApp.
So I'm still just waiting for people to join. So I'll just waffle on a little bit about what I've been researching while we wait for the limited 15 people that TikTok forces us to be limited to. I've been doing research into auras. Episode 6. When is episode 6 on Spotify out? Did I? It's scheduled, I think. It's on YouTube. All of them's on YouTube. All of them's free on Patreon. We're on episode 8 now. 9 is about to drop in about 10 days or so. So you're slightly behind. So it's like you're missing. By the time 9 comes out, you're missing nearly another hour of these videos. So I'm sure 6 is on Spotify. I remember seeing Spotify and thinking, oh, I must put that up. So could I just ask you just to probably watch it on YouTube, if you don't mind? It should have been on Spotify. I don't know if it's due to drop. I'm not on my computer, I'm afraid. So yes, there's 6, 7, 8 is out and 9's due soon. So and they're really good actually. People's commented and stuff. So you'll find out about who Cain and Abel was. In number 9, you'll find out a lot more about the ancient stones over in Africa that no one talks about. So there's some good episodes. But yeah, I apologize if it's not out already on Spotify, but it is definitely on Patreon, which is free. You don't have to pay for that, and YouTube. So just send me a message on any video. I'll read every single message and just say, look, I can't find episode 6, and I'll make sure it's up within 10-15 minutes of you asking. So I apologise. Nicole's joined. Hi Nicole, nice of you to join. Coppers wrote, thank you. You're more than welcome. Sorry, it's not. I feel bad now that feels like it's so far behind when the other ones are out. Nicole's wrote, hello, Altruist. Thank you for the live. Well, you're more than welcome. That's what I'm here for. I get bullied by people, and I'm going to do lives. So if it makes you happy, then good. Kerry's joined and sent a hi. Oh, hi Kerry, nice of you to join. I hope you're well today. Kerry's wrote, hi everyone, happy Valentine's Day. Thank you, Kerry. That's very nice of you. And to one and all have a wonderful day. Coppers wrote, yes, I'll watch it on YouTube. Yeah, they're so 6, 7, and 8 are out on YouTube. Cool, brilliant. Hope you enjoy them. So like I say, we are limited. I know it says 6 or 7 people. We know why there's only 6 or 7. I've got 250,000 followers that are interested in what I say, but they never get notified, and that's because TikTok is bad. So just to give some update, especially to Kerry, on the website. So on the live chat. So I'm doing my own live chat. Some of you may know. because literally TikTok, Instagram, and thingy all limit me badly, very badly, as you can see right now. So we'll get to 15, and then it'll stay like that for 20 odd minutes, and then it'll go up to 30. So I've created my own live chat, which we was doing tests with. We got the successful speed sorted out, so I ended up having to pay another guy. You know, it's slightly out of my knowledge base, and this guy that I know in India is an actual owns a company that does. He's trustworthy. I know you're all thinking, oh, I've known him for it's got to be nearly 20 years now. Probably thinking about it. He's done many websites for me, and you know I've passed them on to other people. Long story. So yeah, he owns a company that does coding and stuff, all sorts of coding, more than what I can do. So the live chat that I was creating myself, I got to a point where I was struggling with my knowledge. You know, my limited knowledge. Sad, but you know, just don't have time to do everything and learn everything. So I had to ask him. He does charge, which is a shame, but you know, there you go. That's how life works. So the speed now, we had a problem before. The speed is working fine. The play button on the audio. So when normally what happens is now you go in on my live chat and you have to press a button to hear my voice, and I didn't want that because people will not know to press it or won't bother or forget or whatever. So I've come up with a way that will work. So he's implemented that. I did a test this morning actually. Didn't quite work, so I've sent him a message saying, look, I think this is the problem why it didn't work. So that's going to be solved. So long story short, to get that speed going for the website, I had to change my server provider because I'm on a, if you complicate it, I'm on a shared server basically, which the company that I'm using doesn't allow the certain called a node.js. This guy that I know does do offer servers space, and so I'm switching over to him, which is costing me a little bit more money. Thank you, Jazz. So long story short, sometime next week we'll have another test, and we should be good to get from that point and sort of a select larger group to do another test, not really a test, but an actual live at some point after that, but not notify thousands or anything like that because I just want to make sure we can cope with 50 people or something to start with. So yes, on my way. Andy's right. Would the Anunnaki what? Can't see anything else. Sorry, I don't know what the rest of that's about, or unless I. And then Andy's wrote, please ignore. Okay, no worries. Scrolling down, reading this is live. I read every single question out. Truth matters. How do you prove a god exists? Easy. So I'm just checking whether you follow me just to understand your knowledge base. So you don't follow me. So the Anunnaki, the race name for them, the alien race, is called Dingir, which translates into gods. So that's your gods. So they do exist. It's like we're humans. They're basically translates into God. So yeah, so there's not a god. There was many gods, as you probably know from the Bible. So we can I ask you a question? Why? I mean, and if you want the evidence that the Anunnaki were real, just go to my website, scroll down on the homepage where it says click here, click that. It'll take you to YouTube. Watch that, come back and say, my God, you've nailed it. Amazing. No one's ever going to debunk that. And guess what? No one has. No one. So, yeah, the Anunnaki were the gods in the Bible. Scrolling down, Chaz is right. Hey, Altrish, I hope you're doing okay. Good to catch you live. Oh, I wasn't going to do one, but someone's asked me, and you know me. But yeah, no, welcome, Jazz. Nice of you to join. Scrolling down. Kerry's spoke to. I was interested here. Kerry's wrote to Truth Matters, as in an almighty being, and then Truth Matters wrote, if that's what God means. It doesn't, obviously. It means a race of beings, just same as humans. But scrolling down, Truth Matters doesn't prove a God exists. See, it sounds like you're getting a bit mixed up with you're getting mixed up with an almighty God, which there is none. So unfortunately, you have to break free of that mindset, because you'll keep going, oh, there's no God, because you're assuming that the Bible is talking about, which it's not, clearly it's not, talking about a single entity, which apparently, according to the people that read it, created the universe in 7 days. But if you actually read the tablets properly, or the old text properly, which I've done, you'll realize with evidence that it was the solar system that was forming at the beginning. That's what it was. And it doesn't even say in the Bible, it doesn't even say God created heaven and earth. It actually says, well, you can take it a couple of different ways. You can take it properly as God's preparing heaven and earth, or you can take it as deities forming heaven and earth, deities being planets. So when you said that doesn't prove a God exists, no, it proves lots of gods exist. Absolutely, yeah. So tell me where I'm wrong, if you would, on the Anunnaki not being real, and I'll go through all the evidence for you if you can't be bothered to watch the video. Truth Matters has wrote, that's a claim. That the Anunnaki were here and that they genetically created us. Yeah, we've actually got a tablet called Enki and Nimna where they tell us they created us. Now, this is one of the first ever languages talking about genetic modification, which is pretty impressive for people back then that wouldn't have understood genetic modification. So, yeah, that's just one of the many reasons why we know the Anunnaki were here. So, like I say, no one's debunked my video. I point to it every single time I do these lives. Not one person's ever going to debunk it, because they can't, because it's just basically flooded with evidence. And it's not just tablet evidence. If you go watch it, you'll see. But yeah. Andy's wrote, when someone is evil, is that jinn or orb experiencing evil? So evil's a tricky one to say what's evil, because, I think that people go out hunting are evil. They hunt a poor little deer. They could go to the shop and you could say, well, what's the difference between, buying meat from the supermarket than hunting? But there are hunters out there that don't eat them. They'll go out and hunt a lion just for a trophy. They're evil to me. So evil's subjective, really. If someone's possessed, then I believe it's the jinn. I believe the jinn has gone in there and either cohabited with the orb that's inside, connected to the pineal gland, or pushed the orb out, or the orb had already left. So my research leads me to believe that the possessed people have the jinn in them, but not necessarily evil people. Evil people can just be evil because an imbalance in the brain. I mean, we're all made up of chemicals, etc. And if people can be born deformed, so you can actually see a disability, but not everyone, you can see the problems inside their brain. And so, neural pathways can end up, being split off and giving people the idea that, they can do things without consequences, etc. So it's really difficult to say what's evil. Certain people that are, like there's story. There was a story. It was a disgusting story somewhere in America years and years ago. There was a robber that came into the house, and there was a young child there, 2 or 3, and the mother come running down when she heard this intruder in the house, and he grabbed the kid and put the child's hand over a stove to get the mum back. That's sick and evil. That's evil when you can do that. But again, when you look at the type of person he was, Is there an inherent flaw in certain people? Possibly, I don't know, but I'll let you work that one out. Kerry's wrote to Truth Matters. If you're asking about omni all-powerful being, one doesn't exist. King has wrote, we are all God. I bet you don't follow me. Oh, you do follow me. No, of course we're not all God. We are. We have DNA. I mean, look. When you say we're all God, if we're all God, then God was Neanderthal, and you'll say, how's that work out? Well, we've got Neanderthal DNA in us, and then you'll say, oh well, God was Neanderthal as well. But hang on a minute, God only created us, not Neanderthal. Well, how can they? You're going to say, no, they created Neanderthal, but Neanderthal's older than us. Ah, you see the problem right there. You run into a brick wall with evidence. So I love evidence. It works to my favour. So yeah, when you say we're all God, we have Anunnaki DNA in us, which is the unknown DNA, which is the missing link, and we have Neanderthal DNA, but we are not all God. There's only one God, and that's me. Scrolling down. Yes, I am big-headed, by the way. Kerry's wrote to Truth. I'm trying to follow that train of thread there. That the Anunnaki exists. Truth Matters. Okay, so would you do me a favour, Truth Matters? You won't bother, trust me. You won't. Go to my website, you won't bother. Click on my profile, you won't bother. It'll take you to my website. You'll see my website address there. OurTrueHistory.co.uk. You won't bother. Scroll down on the homepage, click where it says click here. Watch 10 minutes of that and come back. You won't bother. And you know why I know you won't bother? Because I've done this so many times for years and years on TikTok, telling people to go do that. That people that say, oh, there's no evidence, they don't want to know that there's evidence. That's the problem. And unfortunately, you're going to be one of these people that want to believe your version of whatever it is in life instead of actually looking at evidence. So kind of no point in talking to you anymore because I know you're not going to go away. I'll still be on, and I've only just started this live, so I'll be on for probably another hour or two. So you only need 10 minutes. Go away, come back, and tell me with evidence when my evidence is wrong. Would you do that for me, Truth Matters? Now, bearing in mind your name is Truth Matters. Now, if truth matters to you, which I bet it don't, if truth matters to you, you'd go away and watch 10 minutes of that. And then you come back and you say, right, you're wrong, and here's the evidence to prove the point's wrong. Not going to happen. I don't mean to sound rude. Yeah, I do. What the hell? Sod it. Let's cut the chase. You're not going to do it. You call yourself Truth Matters, but you ain't going to bother looking at any evidence. So, sorry, I'm just calling it as it is. Truth Matters wrote, it's your claim that there exists, so prove it. A tablet isn't proof. Go away 10 minutes, come back. Told you this person's got their own thoughts. They haven't actually done any research into the Anunnaki. You know how I know that? Because if they had, they'd be going, wow, yes, 100% agree with you. The fact that we've got fused chromosomes, the fact that those buildings back then were built by people that had technologies that we couldn't do today, blah, blah, blah. But unfortunately, Truth Matters won't bother. Sorry, we know you won't. And even if you did go away for 10 minutes and watch my documentary, you ain't going to be able to come back with evidence to prove my evidence wrong. So either way, I'm right. I'm just asking for 10 minutes, which you won't bother. Ah, dearie me. I use that because he's now saying to Kerry a tablet isn't proof. So, okay. Do you know how proof works, Truth? I got a feeling that we've got one of these N words here, a numpty. So let me explain how truth works, okay? So if you go to court, if you're lucky, you will have the guilty person say, I'm guilty. Most of the time, they probably don't. So what you need to do, Truth Matters, I'm educating you here, I'm guessing you're young. What you need to do is have a preponderance of evidence. What does preponderance mean? Well, it means you need an overwhelming amount of evidence that is basically enough to convict the person. So me pointing one tablet out, which is absolutely phenomenal on its own, the fact that we have tablet telling us they created us in ancient times when no one should know about genetics, that's the first clue. But I was only pointing that out just as a first clue. And you're trying to use that one tablet as the whole basis of my 3 hour documentary with evidence. And I've got books that has even more evidence on top of all of that. So unfortunately, truth matters. You're fighting a losing battle here because you're up against the best. And I know I'm egotistical. Kerry's even replied to the guy saying he, just like he said, he has more than just tablets. Cotswolds wrote, just seen you're on. Evening. Hi, Cotswolds. Nice of you to join. Welcome. I wasn't going to do a live, but Truth Matters wrote, so he should present the actual proof, not just say a tablet says something. Okay, so we have got a numpty here, because if you go back and listen to my point, I said, we've even got a tablet that tells us that they created us in one of the very first languages. Remember that, Truth? I'm very careful how I say what I say. So you've now shown ignorance and understanding of the language that I speak because you didn't grasp the concept of the wordings that I chose. So I don't want to make you look like a numpty even though you've done that yourself. I'm just saying, pay attention in class. That's why you're probably not got any qualifications or anything. And if you have got qualifications, that would actually explain why you're not the world's sharpest. And I mean that all sincerity. I think what you're taught at school is crap. And so if you've gone on, forgive me guys, if you've gone on and got more education, yeah, I just don't think they teach you the stuff that you should. Kerry wrote, sir, I'm a deer hunter and I eat them. Yeah, no, I was referring to, the people that kill lions as a trophy. That's the evil type. And the ones that don't eat the deer, if there's any ones that don't, they would be evil from my opinion. But yeah, so I'm not knocking you, Kerry. If you eat them, then I understand. That's why I said about the whole shopping, going to the shop, etc. But it's the ones that the trophy hunters, basically. Danny's wrote, if you move the guest panel, it makes it easier for people to bother. If you move the guest panel, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you do that. I'm not on the. I think you're thinking that I'm on the one where. So this is audio only. There is another one where you can have video, and I used to be able to put my background up, but TikTok limited me because I never had a moving background. So I use this silly version here that's just audio, which they limit me anyway. So either way, I'm kind of stuck until I get my own live chat. But thank you, though. I don't think I can move it. Yeah, Kerry's just explained all of that. On my new live chat, I will know if Kerry's replied, and I wouldn't have just wasted time. Kerry's already succinctly put it. Truth matters. How did you prove it's Anunnaki DNA? So we have. It's a good question coming from you. It's a good question. So we have DNA that is, we call it Homo sapien DNA. There is nothing on this planet that had Homo sapien DNA prior to suddenly us having Homo sapien DNA. So you're going to say, what does that mean? Because you're obviously struggling to understand. So we have a few percent of Neanderthal DNA, including black people in Africa. And that's been proven by Princeton University. Feel free to go and watch or go and bother looking it up, but you won't. So the rest of the DNA is Homo sapien. Where did that come from? Now, let me explain something to you. The Anunnaki tell us that they bred with the Homo sapiens 200,000 years after creating them. You do know that, don't you, Truth Matters? No, I don't. Oh God, now he's coming out with the old voices. Oh jeez. So the Anunnaki bred with us again. Did they? Yeah, there's a thing called Homo sapien and there's a thing called Homo sapien sapien. I'd not heard of that. I didn't go to school. That's all right, Truth Man. It's not your fault. So, Homo sapiens, there's a missing link between Neanderthal and Homo sapien. Guess what? 200,000 years later, Homo sapiens sapien appeared, which is what's classed as the modern man. Now, there is a missing link between Homo sapien and Homo sapiens sapien. No one understands where it is, how that happened, how we suddenly went from Homo sapien to Homo sapiens sapien. But we actually have tablets with the Anunnaki telling us that they bred with the Homo sapiens, which gave us. Go on then, what does it give us? Chocolate cake? Truth matters, please. Please, come on, you know it's not going to be chocolate cake. Donuts. No, it's not donuts. When the Anunnaki bred with the Homo sapiens, oh, you are funny, Truth Matt. When the Anunnaki bred with the Homo sapiens, we got demigods. Oh, because you said their name was Dingi, which translates to gods. So when they had the children, it made them demigods, and that's what's all in the Bible and all in the old text, etc. Yes. Oh, so that's why there's two lots of missing links, because they bred with us as well. Yes. I should really have just gone and watched your video, shouldn't I? Because now I'm making myself look really. No, you're not. You're not. Just enough with the donuts and the chocolate bit cake stuff. But other than that, yes. Well, you're welcome here. I don't want to. It's just have to point it out to you because obviously you've not done any research. So sometimes by hitting home by me making these funny voices, it does allow people to go. I understand now. And I've had a couple people actually understand, and out of 4 years, a couple of people that I did the whole voice thing with have actually ended up following and sticking around and learning. So fingers crossed, you may do that. Never surrenders. I seen firsthand a jinn, a shadow figure or entity, or even a watcher, scared the life out of me. Well, the watchers with evidence, as you probably know, were the Ajiji. They were the ones that came down from Lachmu, which was Mars. And so I've got a documentary with evidence proving that. No one will debunk that because it's got the evidence there. But yeah, so not a watcher. Shadow figure, I can't disagree that wouldn't have been a jinn, because obviously no one's really seen a jinn as such. So they could have seen the shadow figure, and it could have been a jinn, or it could have been another orb, or it could have been Hatman. It could have been anything. So I can't argue with you. I guess you've seen a shadowy figure that scared the life out of you. That would. Kind of. Who remembers? I'll show my age now. Who remembers the cartoon Dungeons and Dragons? Venger had a shadowy figure that went round and did all these is spying on him. So maybe you had a spy. I'm not. I'm just. I don't know. You never know what these things are. These shadow entities. Truth Matters wrote, just present the proof. I did. So that he's obviously wrote that prior to me explaining a whole load of stuff and pretending. So pretending that I'm him with my voice. So there you go, Truth Matters. So you now know, and Truth Matters has decided whether or not to follow and learn. Kerry had wrote to Truth Matters, chill out and let him get to your questions. So Truth Matters didn't understand that I read every single question out. That's okay. That's when you. Sabrina's wrote, very interesting. Thank you, Sabina. It's very nice of you to say. I have been doing this 40 plus years, been on radio stations, written books, etc. Never been debunked, and I do debunk other researchers as well as religious people, etc., etc. Truth Matters just wrote to Kerry. He just says, "Go watch a video." Yeah, it saves me pointing, explaining it all. But he should present the best example of the evidence. Now I've just done 2 lots with the Homo sapiens and the Homo sapiens sapiens. So there you go. Now, feel free to explain how we've got Homo sapiens and Homo sapiens sapiens, and tablets telling us that they created us. Oh, I don't know. Also, Truth Matters, they even tell us about the asteroid belt. Oh, do they? Yeah, we only found out about it 200 years ago. Oh, but they had big telescopes back then, didn't they? No, they didn't. Oh, well, two tablets doesn't make, the one where they tell us that they created us and the astro belts, two tablets doesn't make them real. How many tablets would? I can carry on. How many tablets would make them real? Oh, 4 billion 29 to Google with plexi stuff. Oh, truth matters. What you like? Oh, dearie me. Nicole's right. Who performed the wedding rituals of the Anunnaki? Would it be someone they held in special regard? Good question. I can't remember. Someone asked me that before, but good number 3 in the class. That is a good question. I can't tell you because I've never stored that information if I've read it. So I apologise. I'm a guy, okay? His weddings are not that. Guys know what I'm on about. It's like, oh, just get over and done with the wedding. So they did have it for a long time. It was about 30 days from memory. But obviously, is that their 30 days, which is just one day, or was it our 30 days, which is 30 days? I would need to go back and look at it. Chances are they were married. Now, if you go by the Bible, where this is why my series called Everything That Happened is Amazing, because if you go by the Bible, Cain goes off and gets married. He has a wife, which is obviously incorrect because the Anunnaki wouldn't have married Cain because they banished her. I say her because it was a her. You're going to say, no, it's not. It's a man in the Bible. Go watch my amazing documentaries. Oh, yeah, the Bible got it wrong. And same as the Bible said that Cain got married, no one was around to marry Cain. And also, not only that, Cain, wait for it, there was no other women here. There was only Adam, Eve, and Cain. Abel died. So who the hell did he marry? So if when people say to me, "Oh, the Bible's correct," hell no, it's all over the place. So yes, so I don't know who would have married the Anunnaki. Chances are, I really don't know. Someone, I don't know. I was going to say, one of the royals, but it may not be. It may have been one of the elders. So I can't answer. I apologise. Just one, Clark. Just one. Sorry, Clark's nicking a banana. Good question. Woodland Pixies wrote, if everything you say is true, why ain't we taught this info in schools? Because when the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and the JP Morgans, basically the elites, found out that our history was different to what they, want us to all believe, they started to deliberately hide things from us, and that's a fact. You can go look; you'll find that J.P. Morgan's got his own library. You'll see that Rockefellers have used to pay people to go into Iraq and steal stuff. The list just goes on and on. It's not me making that up. You can just search for it. The Rothschilds done the same. The Rothschilds have got their own. Only a tiny bit, Clark.
Oh my God.
The Rothschilds have got their museums as well. Rockefellers are basically pretty much in the pocket of, or the British Museum and the Smithsonian are in the pocket of the Rockefellers. So, yeah, you ain't going to ever find out. And the reason why is because if we found out that we had technologies to build those buildings that we can't even recreate today, then we'll say, hang on, what kind of technology was that? Let's have some of that. Where's the Anunnaki? Where's the religion? Oh, all aliens. Oh, well, then Islam's out of the picture. Christians are out of the picture. Everyone will be going, oh, it's aliens, so no more wars. Where do you think money comes from? Wars. It all boils down to greed, basically. And so once they realise that was the case, we are, and the Rockefellers apparently are the ones that have our curriculum in America anyway, teaches the curriculum at school, which is basically a load of nothing. You leave school, you got nothing. You got no knowledge really at all of anything. So yeah, they don't want us to know. Never Surrenders wrote, Anunnaki is my favourite topic, but my understanding conflicts with most. You've come to the right place. I, I won't lie. You guys know that. So, yeah, I've been researching for longer than most people. Andy's Jazzers wrote, sorry, to Truth Matters. You're just being awkward now. Andy's wrote, do you think the Anunnaki are aware of hybrid elongated aliens and alchemy metal to gold? Absolutely, yeah, yeah. So from my research, I believe that, as you know, that the elongated skulled people were hybrids from, how big's that cup, Clark? Okay.
Oh, thank goodness.
Sorry, Clark's nicking milk and now spilling it everywhere. Clark, you filled that so high up.
Sorry.
Can we get a cloth?
Oh, yeah, the cloth, because I did, yeah.
Sorry, he's playing silly buggers.
I know.
Yeah, sorry. Whoever's doing the hearts, you don't have to. We won't get any higher than what we are now. I appreciate it, but someone's obviously got one of those machines or a serious thumb that's tapping away. But it won't change our live chat. It really won't. We're stuck with what we got because of the limits. So yes, the Anunnaki. Thank you, JB. Oh, thank you. So the Anunnaki, in my opinion, were aware of the alien race, or at least one alien race that had an elongated skull. We've got two skeletons or mummies of two different types in Mexico that's been found. So they would have had to have been to have known them, because humans don't suddenly grow an elongated skull, have bigger mass, and then suddenly become the leaders of that whatever tribe, whatever area, which is exactly what happened with these elongated skull people. So they were put in positions of power, and you would only do that if you probably created them. And again, we've got a carving of Isis holding an elongated skulled baby in Egypt. So yeah, they created them for sure. Alchemy, metal, gold. Yeah, I mean they were the ones that knew metallurgy before us. So bye, Clark. So yeah, they would have known. And of course, if you, as you know, when you watched my documentary on King Midas probably had an elongated skull. His father definitely did. And again, king, always in positions of power. Jesus probably had an elongated skull. I'm nearly 100% sure he did. So yes, and Midas, as we know, managed to do something that no one else had done and create this gold from a particular type of alloys, etc. So, and that's the Penn Museum explaining all of that. So it's not me making up stuff. So yes, but thank you. Whoever's doing the hearts, you don't have to tap. Because it's not going to change anything. Good question, Andy. Go to number 3 in the class. Sorry. To whoever was in number 3. Truth Matters. Kerry's wrote to Truth Matters. Why is it so hard for you to do some research? It's a fair question that Kerry's asked Truth Matters, because Truth Matters is written as a title of his username, Truth Matters. So, I mean, literally, research and truth go hand in hand. You can't just assume stuff and call yourself Truth Matters. So I think Kerry's asking you a very valid point there. Why don't you actually bother doing research, and instead of expecting someone on a live chat to give you all 4 hours worth plus books, information, etc., evidence? That's just lazy, which is what Kerry's trying to basically say, I'm guessing. Yeah. Truth Matters to Jazz. He is making claims. He needs to present the best evidence here, which I've done, and you won't be able to answer it. So explain, Truth Matters, how the Anunnaki knew about the asteroid belt. And we only found out 200 years ago. No one can see it with their naked eye. Just explain that. I'm just doing that to shut you up, really, because you'll go, I can't. And we know you can't. Jazz has wrote back to Truth Matters. He's asked you to check out his page. and you will get all the proof you need. Yeah, he could have been back by now, Jazz. I said to you he wouldn't. I read him like a book, a very thin book. Truth Matters wrote, a tablet says something that's a claim, then you need verifiable evidence to support the claim, which I've just done. I've given you, I'm sure you must have written that by now at the point I was explaining all those DNAs and everything else. So Truth Matters is basically saying, I agree, but I can't now look like an idiot by saying that, yes, you're correct and I'm stupid. So he's now going down that road of, well, I kind of want you to give me more evidence without making himself look silly. Anyway, so Truth Matters then wrote to Jazz, and I asked him to present his best proof. Now he said a tablet say something. Then he put laughing faces. So the gloves are off now. Truth Matters, because when you put laughing faces, it basically means that A, you can't articulate your point because you had to use laughing faces, and second, you're basically saying that even though I did say, and I've repeated it twice now, that when I was pointing out something, I said, even a tablet explains blah, blah, blah. So the gloves are off now, Truth Matters. So unfortunately, feel free, everyone, to pick holes in Truth Matters, which I've obviously done easily with my eyes closed. Never Surrenders wrote, Enki is a champion for mankind. He saved us from Enlil. Enlil is also mainstream God. Well, no, technically no. Yahweh is mainstream God, which was Marduk. So Enlil was the mainstream God up until about 3000 BC, when then Marduk took over. So I mean, technically you're right up until that point, but now was Marduk. I don't know whether anything's changed in the last 100 odd years or so, but he was on the dollar bill, Marduk. And then you wrote Enki is a champion for mankind. He was, yeah, he desperately tried to keep us going. Truth Matters has wrote, the best present the best evidence, not just say a tablet says something and then put another laughing face. You know, the lucky thing is, Truth, that you're not in front of me, because when someone puts a laughing face, yeah, Truth Matters wouldn't be. I'd have to help you back up. So yeah, so don't do the laughing face, because yeah, I have a set of skills. I will find you. Scrolling down. Truth Matters, I'll ask again, how do you prove it's Anunnaki DNA? The claim they bred. So I'll explain it again one more time, because you're completely thick, clearly completely thick. Did I not explain about the preponderance of evidence? Oh, you did, didn't you? Yeah. So you do realise that in a court of law, you don't have to have someone say they're guilty to get a guilty verdict. I know you said all this already, but I just want to cause problems because I'm thick. Oh, Truth Matters. You know, the sad thing was, the sad thing is that I was the thickest kid in the school. And if you was in my school, I'd be the second thickest kid. So yes, it's basically, you need preponderance. For fuck's sake, you're a numpty. Idiot. Never Surrenders wrote, our DNA has an error in genetic code, an anomaly in our genes. We've got fused chromosomes, and we have capped telomeres, which basically was done by the Anunnaki. Now, the fused chromosomes, the other creatures on Earth that have fused chromosomes are the same ones that the Anunnaki had domesticated. Interesting, that, isn't it? So either God thought, I know what, let's fuse chromosomes for a bit of a giggle, or the Anunnaki did it, which obviously, yeah, we know they did. Scrolling down, Truth Matters wrote, you would need verifiable Anunnaki DNA. You don't have that. Your evidence is a tablet says something and then put a laughing face. I'm just going to follow you back. Okay, just going to screenshot you. Don't worry. Thank you. Okay, that's good. So I'll explain again. There is missing DNA. What fucking hell? You're a numpty. You're not the sharpest, are you? Come up. Let me see if you can come up and chat to me. Come up. I'm going to invite you up. Let's see. How do I invite numpties up? Mark viewer. Prioritize the viewer. I didn't know that had that option there. Request to join. Truth matters. Come on. Put your money where your mouth is. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to watch a boxing match of intellect here. Come on, request to join. I have no idea how to do that unless you've gone. Come on. Here, boy. We'll hear how old you are, which is probably 15 or 14 months old with the knowledge that you have. Come on, join. Request to join. Ladies and gentlemen, Truth Matters versus Our True History. Come on, come up, come on. This will be a good one for YouTube when I put it up. Truth Matters, where are you? Is he still here, anybody? Can someone let me know? There's only 30 people in the chat because TikTok limit me. Or have you just backed out? He's backed out. Come on. Let's have a look and see whether he's still here. He's not here. Fucking chicken shit. Excuse my language. Fucking. Oh, people like that would. 2 hits. That's all it'll take. I'm not going to bother reading because he's obviously not here no more. So I'll just scroll down to. What Evs has wrote, were the Atlanteans the Anunnaki? Yeah. So I've got a pinned video. Feel free to watch on my TikTok. Basically, the Anunnaki they had a place just above Egypt. We know it as Heraclean, but it was actually an Anunnaki place. In fact, it's even got Thoth's temple on there. Thoth the Atlantean. They found his temple. That's, again, not me making it up. There's no point in making stuff up. So, yes, the Anunnakis were there. Truth Matters wrote, there isn't... Oh, why am I even reading that? That numpty's gone. Never Surrenders wrote, I see today split into 2. That of Enki knowledge and that of Enlil control. I see today split into 2. Enki died. Feel free to go watch my videos. And Enlil probably died. So no, they're not in control anymore. Marduk ended up being in control. Now, whether or not another one since has overthrown him or took over or whatever, I don't know. But certainly around 1000 BC, Marduk was certainly in control, and then on the dollar bill, Marduk's symbols, etc., all over the dollar bill, so it makes sense. Whatever is wrote, were the Ajiji as the Anunnaki or something different? They were the younger Anunnaki. If you're interested in seeing the evidence of that, feel free to go to my website. Scroll down on the homepage to where it says click here. It will take you to YouTube. Watch that. It shows you the evidence that they were the sons of the Anunnakis. In fact, you can just go to the tablet, the Artrahasis, and when just loads of evidence, but basically when the rabble of Ajiji go to Enlil's house, his vizier or someone says to Enlil, why are you scared of our sons? So they're not a different race like Billy Carson and there's other stupid people say. They're not. They're just the younger Anunnaki. That's all it was. They were classed as heroes. Whereas you get some of these stupid people on TikTok that say the Ajiji were slaves and they're an alien race and they're a different alien race and da-da-da. No, they weren't. They were just younger Anunnaki. Scrolling down. Never Surrenders wrote, are your documentaries on YouTube channel name? Our True History. Your best bet is to go to my website because you can search anything you want from there. So it's Our True History. The same as you just click my profile and it will take you to my website. And then on there, you can click on the videos for YouTube and it will take you to YouTube. So it'll take you direct to my channel. Whatever says, who the heck is he talking to? So I'm slightly behind because I read every single message out. So unfortunately, you've joined and you don't see further back than what I'm talking. But this is live. I read every single question out. Never surrenders wrote, because they are that of Enlil, control away from Enki's knowledge path of enlightenment. Yeah, Enki died and Enlil probably died. He was old. If he's not died, he's very, very old. He's not in control of anything probably by now. Morgan's wrote his son. Marduk, yeah, Enki's son. People chatting to each other. Dr. Gankers wrote, who's most people KMO? I don't know, because I know you're talking to people, so I think that's to do with you're talking to whatevs, so maybe that's what that was referring to. Scrolling down. Dr. Gank has wrote, sounds like my schizo mate that only leaves the house to sign on for his dole money. I'm guessing you're on about that Truth Matters person. Yeah, you're correct. Yeah, that's probably... I wonder if he is your mate. How do you not know he's not? Yeah, so... Never surrenders, right? Enlil can't have Enki's knowledge become mainstream. That's why you're controlled in the algorithm. Enlil can't have Enki's knowledge become a mainstream. Enlil's old. I mean, if he was old 10,000 years ago, just after the Great Flood. So Marduk took over. The Enum Release explains that he took over. He became the Most High. So I hear what you're saying. I just think you got slightly wrong, round the wrong way. So I'm not knocking you. I'm just saying. Dr. Gank is right. I choose reality, not make believe. Oh, someone's blocked Dr. Gank. That's a shame. A lot of numpties tonight. I love it. Sorry, I'm just reading the messages. Jack has wrote, can I join? I do like people that follow me to come up and chat. The only reason why, it's not because I'm, only want people that agree with me. It's because I've let people up in the past that have no idea what I'm talking about. And, people in the back, they even set up, the moderators set up a poll saying, should we get rid of this guest? Because he didn't know what he was talking about. It was a complete waste of everyone's time. So, by you not following me, you could come up and talk about butterflies for all I know. At least if you follow me, it gives me an idea that you're interested in these subjects. Scrolling down. This is live. I read every single question. Alex is right. Hello, Our True History. How is the website coming along? Yeah, good. Had to pay a little bit more money. Long story. Had to change my whole server from where I am to another one. But we're getting there. We are getting there. Yeah. If I knew what I knew now, I probably would have thought of a different route. But we'll get there. We'll get there. So yes, not long now. Thank you for asking, and hope you're well. Alien has wrote, Alien Head has wrote, sounds like BS. Please tell me what's BS. Please explain one thing, please, just one. Samantha's wrote, hi, Our True History and Mods. Hi, Samantha, nice of you to join. We've got some numpties in tonight, which is cool. I thought we haven't had these numpties for ages. I do like a little bit of numptiness. Tony's wrote, what is this waffle? Speaking of numpties, thank you, Nicole. Tony, please explain where I'm wrong. I don't know what you're on about. I wasn't even listening. Oh, Tony, numpty. Sorry, you are. Let's be honest. Anyone with a picture of a car in this day and age is a numpty. Oh, you've got a picture of a car. What a shame. Has a profile. Nicole's wrote, why did Marduk choose an elongated alien and a human to create Jesus? Why not use his own DNA? So with Jesus, I can't 100% say that he used an alien. That's why I say I'm 90%, 99% sure that he probably did have an elongated skull. And that's because the Anunnaki put the elongated skull people in charge. We know that all of the genuine elongated skull people were in charge, whether they were kings, pharaohs, leaders when they went round to Mesoamerica, etc. They were in charge, and that's why the headbind bound skulls were to emulate their leaders. Now, obviously, over in Mesoamerica, they wouldn't have known what people looked like over in Mesopotamia. So there's no reason for them to headbind unless they had seen what their leaders look like, in other words. But yeah, we've got thousands and thousands of skulls and skeletons of elongated skulled people. As I say, the most recent mainstream one was the one in Scandinavia with a woman with the red hair and an elongated skull, and she was a leader of some type, from the way she was buried in the clothes, according to mainstream. So, going back to the question about Jesus, why did Marduk choose an elongated skull? So, forgetting Jesus, because I can't say 100% he was, but if we go with the other ones, which we know definitely had elongated skulls, Akhenaten, Nefertiti, Tutankhamun, that lineage, for example, they were put in positions of power. My logic says, and I don't have evidence for this, but you don't put a numpty, you wouldn't put, Truth Matters in charge of a country or in charge of an area. You wouldn't put those type of people, these numpties, like Tony, for example, with a car, because you know what kind of person he is. When you got a picture of a car, it's like he revs up at the traffic lights. You know that. You know. And and what Tony doesn't understand is when people drive like that, everyone looks at them and thinks, what a numpty. Probably a different word to that. But Tony in the car's thinking, look at me, everyone's going to love me roaring down the street. No, we don't.
WhatsApp. Someone has sent you a WhatsApp.
Sorry, someone sent me a WhatsApp. So you don't put someone stupid in charge. So the logic is that they use the DNA or the knowledge or the something from these aliens, which we have got in Mesoamerica, that was found 2 lots of. We've got the 1 foot one, and then we've got the 6 foot one tridactyl species of elongated skulled mummies. So someone's, the logic is that those elongated skulls were, because the skeletons of the humans with the natural elongated skulls, not the headbound ones, they don't have 3 fingers, but the Mexican mummies do. So there must have been some DNA swapped and given, in which case I do believe that the Anunnaki put those people in positions of power because they're smarter. It makes a lot more sense. I mean, you've got an alien race that can come here, when you've got people like Tony and Truth Matters, then, any alien race, even their ants on their planet, are smarter than some of us. So, yeah, that's, and of course, having Jesus, when you look at the research I've done on that documentary of why he was put in charge or why he was created, he was to be put in charge, but he became pacifist and said, no, I'm not doing it. Thank you, Shah. So Jesus was created for a reason, to take over the kingship. That's why the king, if you know anything about the Bible, that's why the king was happy for him to be found and basically killed. So yeah, Jesus was born to rule, but he said, no, I'm not going to do it. And so that's why he was forsaken on the cross. That's why he shouts out, why have you forsaken me, when he sees a light in the sky, a UFO. And then obviously they took his body because he had, an elongated skull. And was that the reason why they took his body? I don't know. So yeah, it's a good question. Why did I have kind of covered this before, so I can only put you in third in the class, I'm afraid. This is live. I read every single question out. Woodlanders, have you ever found any evidence on the dark web? I've never looked. Never looked. So in order for something to be on the dark web, someone would have needed to have found it. You know, like I'm using a tablet as an example. Found the information on a tablet and then put the information on the dark web. The problem there is the people that they're trying to give that information to. In other words, hey, look, this tablet says that the Anunnaki use. I'm just joking here, but let's pretend the tablet said the Anunnaki use a particular type of crystal to have power their craft, and so they put this on the dark web. The only people probably on the dark web are probably criminals that wouldn't be that interested in finding out about a crystal powering an alien spacecraft. So I can't. I'm just saying I can't see the logic in someone. You know, I don't. My evidence and everything, as you see, they're out on videos. I don't do it on the dark web. I put it out for everyone to see in order for everyone to see, not to keep it behind closed doors. Otherwise, there's no point in. So yeah, I don't know. I logic to me says I don't think there'll be anything there related to the stuff that I deal with. I don't know. I might be wrong, but Andy's wrote. Do you think the Anunnaki have been an interest or abduction by the alien race? If not successful, have been abducted by an alien race. It's an interesting question. Got number 2 in the class for that. Could the Anunnaki have been abducted? It's a really good question. The first thing is, would their physiology, which is very similar to ours, obviously, would they have been susceptible to the paralyzation that the aliens do in order to stop us from moving? I don't know. Then the Anunnaki were big, so if a little grey, didn't paralyze him properly, then 1 foot to the head of this grey and the grey's dead. So if they did, they would have needed an army of people to make sure that, an army of aliens to make sure that one of these Anunnaki stayed under. And so I can't say they didn't. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting one, but I can't answer it, I'm afraid. Scrolling down, this is live. Samantha's wrote still restricted to 30. Yeah, we can get up to 40 as you've probably seen, but it drops back down to the 30. So my live chat should be good when I get it up and running. Never Surrenders wrote he'll run, he's a troll. Yeah, they all do. They all do. Kerry's wrote Truth Matters left. Yeah, figured that. Jazz's wrote think they have a runaway. Yeah, Never Surrenders wrote he'll run far away. What does happen is sometimes they'll go and post on my videos as soon as they leave here, these trolls, and they'll go, this is all BS, blah blah blah. They don't actually give any evidence for anything. They'll just say it's BS, and that's what normally happens on those sort of people. Never Surrenders wrote, people don't like being enlightened about our beginnings. We are half cavemen, remember? Yeah, we would be. I probably wouldn't say half, but yeah. But we come from cavemen at some point or another. Never Surrenders wrote, I mean, it's following here in the Earth. Never Surrenders wrote, my understanding is religion transcends from one root, not Anunnaki. No, it was the Anunnaki, yeah. If you're interested, feel free to watch my videos. But basically Christianity is the group that followed Marduk. Catholics were the group that followed Enlil. You can look at that yourself. If you know anything about religion, just trace it back and you'll go, Catholics worship the pantheon, yeah, plural, gods, in where? Rome? Oh, who was the pantheon of gods? Other than Enki as Poseidon, they were Enlil's family, Apollo and all that kind of stuff. Oh, So the Catholics followed the pantheon of gods, and when Marduk went over there and got the Vatican built from Constantine, the pantheon split up again. So they'd already left Mesopotamia and went over to Greece, and then they went to Rome, and then smack bang at that moment in time, um, the Roman army started going over to the Middle East. That's not me making this up. That's exactly what happened. And um, Marduk created Jesus. I've got all the documentary on it if you're interested. Marduk created Jesus to take over his area, while Marduk went over to Rome to talk to the, or to sort out, stop people from going over and, the Roman army, stop them going over and attacking his people. And so he got the Vatican built, and as soon as he got the Vatican built, the pantheon, the Catholics who was worshipping, and when I say worshipping, it wasn't a religion, it was just worshipping whoever's in whatever area it is, they disbanded, and that's why you ended up with Christianity, and that's why the stories are very similar in Catholics and Christian stories. Just ended up being one deity as opposed to many. Samantha's wrote, "Hi, Altrice, have you looked into Ramesses II, or is that too new for History of Anunnaki?" I'm due to do a deep dive. So it's a fair question. Go number 3 in the class for that. I'm due to do a deep dive on Egypt's pharaohs, etc. So as it stands, I haven't done it. I know some, as you know, but not all. And that's on my list to do. So at this point, I can't tell you. Long story short, they're all descendants of Marduk. They're all descendants of Marduk, but from whether or not some ended up Marduk breeding directly with his own children, like Enki did, or what, I don't know. I've not researched that side of it, but they're all descendants of Marduk. Marduk was Ra. So yes. Now there was a period where Thoth, or Ningazida, was in charge of Egypt, but so I'd need to look at. Thank you, Shah. So I'd need to look into whether or not Ramesses was anything to do with his brother Ningazida. Thank you, Shah. So unfortunately, I can't answer it. It's a good question, but I can't answer it at this point because I haven't done my deepest dive on Egypt. Never Surrenders wrote, if it transcends, mainstream is definitely representing Enlil to me. No, it was literally, the religion is just, look at Superman and Zod. Superman tried to make Zod worship him by kneeling before him. Superman didn't want to. So it's not a religion when you have someone forcing you to worship them. It's slavery, basically, which is what it was to some degree. Not certainly earlier on, it was not necessarily 3000, 2000 BC, but before that, 7,000-8,000 it was. So yeah, Phil has wrote, question: is there any way a person can get autographed copies of your books? Would definitely pay. Oh, bless you, Phil. Thank you. Unfortunately, they get printed from Amazon, and when I have sent out copies to people that have been loyal to me and very nice and everything else, 2 of them came back. I sent one to Ireland and I sent one to Sweden. Both came back. I don't know why I paid the correct money on it and everything else. I don't know why. So it's difficult, for me. It would cost me, obviously, to get the book sent here, which I've got copies of. I've still got those ones that kept returned, and I actually signed. I think I signed those for those. So yeah. I mean, I think I spent like 15 quid to Sweden for the books because I put 2 books in a parcel and had it signed for and recorded. But yeah, so they come back. So it's kind of like very sad when that happens, and I feel really bad. And they didn't even pay. I was off. I was giving them the books because I like the people. But so yeah, I probably wouldn't do that again, only because it's really sad when they send me messages saying, "Where is it?" I did post it, and then we tracked the Sweden one. We tracked the parcels and it got stuck at customs for whatever reason. Don't ask me whether customs opened it or not. Didn't look like it, but yeah. So that it didn't get any further than customs. And of course, the person that I was sending it to was like, "Oh, it's not here yet. I was hoping to have it by Christmas." Da da da. And I felt so bad. So I probably wouldn't do that. I apologise. Sorry. Stranos wrote, "Thank you. So interesting. You're more than welcome. Thank you. I do have documentaries that cover the evidence, proper. In fact, this weekend, Lucifer documentary is free. So I do have a Patreon page where I put some of the videos on, and it's only a couple of quid anyway for a month. There's lots and lots, hundreds of videos on there on the Patreon page, but I've got a free section, and today I've put the Lucifer video. So if anyone wants to know who Lucifer was with evidence, feel free to go and watch that. Just go to patreon.com, type in Our True History, and you'll see it there, and then you'll be one of the few people on the planet to know who he was, and no, it's not any of the ones that mainstream say. Never Surrenders wrote, "The root of religion, Enki and Enlil, transcending time, evolves into modern religions." Example, Noah. No, again, it was just. So you had the Hittites, you had the Canaanites, you had the Babylonians. It was just basically names for people. That's all it was. And then over time, it sort of became a religion, where a religion is where you're believing in something that you don't really have evidence for. In terms of these older religions anyway. And so people carried on worshipping something that they really don't even know what they're worshipping anymore. They have no idea. But Truth Matters had joined again. Interesting. JB has wrote, "I've watched your documentary on Satan. Fabulous info. We'll watch again tonight. Thank you." I'll enroll. Oh wow, look at that. Thank you so much. That's really nice of you to say. I'm guessing the Lucifer video as opposed to the Satan video. I did do one on Satan, but I'm guessing that was the Lucifer video. Oh, thank you. It's really nice to hear that. I don't get many people telling me what they think of the things that I do, believe it or not. I normally just get questions, more questions than someone actually saying fabulous. So it was really nice to read that. Thank you so much. Samantha's wrote, "I don't like Humpty Dumpties because I don't learn anything." Yeah, I know they take up the time when they pretend that they're truth seekers and they're not, obviously. Sad. Stranos wrote, "What is the name of the documentary, please?" So I'm not sure which one I was talking about at that point. I've only just started talking about the Lucifer one, so you'd wrote this prior to that. So if you're referring to the one that proves that the Anunnaki were the gods in the Bible, you can go to my website, scroll, because the name on YouTube is not the same name as the actual title, because I put keywords in on YouTube as opposed to the title. So if you just go to my website by clicking my profile picture, go to my website, scroll down on the home page to where it says click here, sit back, it will take you to YouTube and enjoy. In fact, I used that same documentary to prove that the Y-Files made up his episode about the Anunnaki was completely and utterly wrong, and he even admitted it by posting on my video where I debunked the Y-Files, saying that his was done just for entertainment, which we know he doesn't do that, because I've heard him so many times saying, "I just want the truth out there." Then do it properly. That's what I say. But yeah, so he completely and utterly wrong, and I used my evidence, and he couldn't debunk mine, obviously, because it's. Thank you, Gary. Oh, thank you. Good evening. Oh, thank you, Gary. Thank you. Scrolling down, this is live. I read every single question out. Scrolling down. Stanos again asked for the name of the documentary. The actual documentary is called The Lost Book of Our True History. So I was trying to use the Lost Book of Enki and I've put it as the Lost Book of Our True History because, not because I'm trying to copy Zecharia Sitchin's work, but because my evidence proves that Zecharia Sitchin is correct in his book. John Brown has wrote, what documentary is this? So again, just go to my website, scroll down on the homepage, click play, watch that, and it'll take you to YouTube. It's on the homepage. Never Surrender has wrote, transcends. Enki is Lucifer. No, he's not. So, okay, so I know you follow me, but you must know how much research I do. So, in order for Enki to have been Lucifer, Enki needed to have died and never been buried. He needed to have died in a bad way. He needed to have tried to become the Most High. He needed to have destroyed nations. Oh, yeah. You know Enki didn't do that. So when you say Enki is Lucifer, no, completely wrong. He's also not the son of the morning star. That's why the guy said a minute ago my Lucifer video was fabulous, because it covers everything. No, I'm not saying I'm big-headed, but I put the work in. It's a 24-minute documentary going through mainstream's version of who they think he is, etc., etc., and then I just nail it at the end. So no, but let's carry on reading what you wrote. Enki is Lucifer, which obviously completely not, and Enlil was God. Well, unfortunately, the race names is Dingir, which means they're all gods. That's what it translates to, gods. We're humans. They're basically Dingir, which translates in our language as gods. That's why you have you never thought, it's funny that in India, in Egypt, in Greece, in Rome, etc., all the places the Anunnaki were, even Mesoamerica, there were gods. There wasn't Skaranas, there wasn't poo-poo heads, there wasn't Blalalas, there were gods. Why is that? Because the name translates to gods. Oh, makes sense now, doesn't it? So yes, yeah. So yeah, you'll understand because you wrote. I told you my understanding is different. Yeah, no worries at all. But we do have the evidence to point to all the correct sort of places, etc. Stanos wrote, anyone to start? Do you mean any video to start? Watch that one that I point to on my website. That's the best one to go to. Because that will, once you know the evidence is there for the Anunnaki being real and that they did the things in the Bible, then everything else, anything you watch, whether it's the Greek documentaries, the Roman documentaries, anything else, just fits perfectly. John Brown has wrote, what's the documentary? Again, it's on YouTube. It's just keywords for as opposed to the title. So the best thing to do is go to my website through the profile or ourtruehistory.co.uk. Scroll down on the homepage to where it says click here in blue letters, and that's it, and it will take you to the YouTube channel. Nicole's wrote, did Anunnaki have special celebration days like we do, i.e. Valentine's Day, Halloween? They did celebrate Christmas. Well, when I say Christmas, season, the end of the year. So it's technically not Christmas, but it's the end of the year. So they definitely celebrated that. They celebrated, what else did they celebrate? They did celebrate a different king becoming a different king. So, in other words, a transfer of kingship from a human down. They celebrated. We know that because Irving Finkel was telling us in one of his documentaries, and he's the head curator of the British Museum, how Marduk would take the hand of the king and walk down the street. That's Dr. Irving Finkel, head curator of the British Museum, who knows they're freaking aliens, and he reads out that they take his hand down, take the king's hand and walk down the street as part of the celebration. Then he says, yeah, so Marduk was probably a statue, because obviously you can't say that Marduk was real, because if Marduk was real, then so was Enki, and so was Enlil, and so was everyone else. So he said it was a statue. I mean, come on. Isn't that funny? I found it funny. So yeah, they did have special days for certain things that they wanted to. So good question. Can't put you in the class. It's a good question, not a number 3 sort of question. Sorry, and I know I have been asked it before as well. So forgive me. Kelly's wrote, "What do you know about the Druids?" So not a huge amount, but obviously they worship pagan gods. And guess what? And so I have done my deep dive on pagan gods. Guess what the pagan gods were? The same Anunnaki gods. So the pagan gods around the world, you've got Norse, Celtic, and so on. When you look at the attributes of those gods, they match Enlil's, Enki's, etc., the god of water, and so on. So they're the same. The chances of someone over in England coming up with these gods that have the same attributes as gods over in Rome, over in Norse, over in Mesopotamia, etc., is as incalculable to have all the same. So yeah, basically the Druids worship the pantheon of gods. That's all it is. That's what the pagan gods are. Just a group of gods, which probably more than likely would have been Enlil's side, because Enlil had a lot more coherency in his offspring. Because whereas Enki, you had Nurgle, who hated Marduk, so then they didn't get along. Eventually they did to some degree, but then you had Dumuzi, who died. Then you had Ningazida, who had a fight. Thank you, Samantha, who had a fight with Thoth over Egypt. So whereas Enlil's family, Ninurta, Utu, Inanna, all those lot, they're all coherent. They're all on the same page. They're all working from the same hymn sheet. Guess where hymns come from? Yes, the Anunnaki. Guess where the daily bread come from? Yes, the Anunnaki. Guess where the word kingdom come from? The Anunnaki. All before the Bible. Nicole's right. Or did they have special days where? Thank you, Nicole. Or did they have special days to celebrate a certain Anunnaki for something special done? I don't know whether they had. Interesting question. I don't know if they had for something special they done. They did award the person for something special. So, for example, Ninurta, when he beat Anzu, he was gifted wings and an eagle helmet, which, as you probably know, in Egypt they had eagle helmets. So yeah, they celebrated him, and they even had a hymn sung about him. Funny enough, I was just talking about hymns. They had a hymn sung about Ninurta for him beaten. But I don't know. I've not read anywhere that said that they sort of made that a special day or anything. You got to remember, Enlil in the Eridu Genesis tablets tell us that on the 7th day, let this day be a day of rest. So they were really tight with their days, and we were lucky we got weekends now. But yeah, back then it was just crack on, 6 days work, you have one bloody day off. That was Enki that gave us the one day off. So would they have made a special day out of someone doing something like that? I don't know. Can't say they wouldn't. So it's a good question. Go number 3 in the class for that, but I can't answer that. I'm afraid I've not read anything to say that they gave us days for that reason. Never Surrenders wrote, "You believe Eden was a vessel of sorts? I believe a biolab on Earth." So when you read that he was sent down, Adam and Eve were sent down, that's your first clue. Second of all, it was. I know you're saying it's a bio thing, but go watch my documentary on Adam and Eve, and you'll see. You'll see. They were sent down. Definitely sent down. Scrolling down. Sorry, lots of names joining. There's hundreds of names joining, but of course we don't get much more than 40. I mean, it's going to drop down to 30 again because that's what TikTok does. They limit me. See the amount of people that want to join, but probably getting booted off. Woodland Pixies wrote, "Are aliens and spirits orbs connected?" My book's called Black Ops, Aliens, Spirits, Bigfoot, blah blah blah. The subheading is "Everything is Connected." And so my first book that I wrote in 2016, I've been researching since I was 6, but my first book that I wrote in 2016, I wrote because I worked out myself that everything was connected. So the orbs are, the greys have been seen with orbs, Bigfoots have been seen with orbs, humans have the orbs, all that kind of stuff. So when I say everything's connected through the orb, through the spirit, whatever you want to call it. That's the common denominator of it all. That I mean, even Linda Moore House said there was 3 alien races fighting over each other's orbs. So that seems to be the key, the orbs. So yes, good question. Go number 3 in the class for that. A lot of 3s tonight. It's a good question. Luscious wrote, "I can't find my book. Put it in a safe place." I'm guessing it's one of the ones I've written. You better bloody find it. I'm joking. It's probably propping up the table in the kitchen or something. It's useful for something. Stranos wrote, "All hidden in the Vatican." I wouldn't say all hidden, but yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's like, what was it, 20 or 40 miles worth of tunnels underneath the Vatican, and they're not just tunnels; they're full of shelves with stuff in them, on them. So it's that's a humongous size to hide stuff underneath the Vatican. So yes, I would say a lot is there, definitely there. Stranos wrote, love all this. Oh, bless you, Strano. And then Stranos wrote, "Thank you." Oh, you're more than welcome. Thank you. That's very nice to say. Scrolling down. You never know what you're going to get with these messages. History and Coins wrote, "Hi God, I'm not staying too early here." Oh, right, no worries at all. Well, hope you're well and hope you can get some sleep or whatever you need to do if it's early there. Never Surrenders wrote, "Mainstream Jesus God, I mean." Slightly read too many questions out now in between to remember what that's now referring to, so I apologise on that. Luscious wrote, "So are all your videos on YouTube?" Not all of them, no. There's lots on YouTube, yes, but the longer documentaries, all of the long documentaries, regardless whether they're free or not, are on my Patreon page. So anything that's on YouTube is also on my Patreon page under the free sort of section. Now you can say, well, why does he do it on Patreon? Well, pretty much most people do nowadays do the videos, but it does, I sit and do these videos. I have to research, I have to make the video. So for a couple of pound, and people getting, my research, my hard earned time, etc. So for a couple of pounds. So yes, not all of them are on YouTube, but a lot of them are. But there's a free section, as I say, on the Patreon, which you can go to if you want to as well. But just go to my website and you'll see what's there. But for a couple of quid for a month, you can cancel straight away if you want to. You can sign up, watch whatever you can in a month, and then subscribe again another time if you wanted to. It's not a problem. But yeah, my advice is watch. I mean, right now the Lucifer video that tells you who he is with evidence is on my Patreon page, but free of charge. It's there for this weekend, free of charge. So, or you just pay a couple of pounds and watch it anyway. But yeah, so that I would go and watch that one if you're interested in Lucifer, finding out who he is, because all these people that you listen to people and they give a backstory on Lucifer. Literally, they give a whole backstory. He was good looking. There's no carvings of him when you realise who he is. There's no carvings of him. They probably destroyed them because of what he did and how he died. When you realise how he died, so yeah, it's quite amazing how people make up stuff. Scrolling down, Jane has joined and wrote, "Hi God, hi Goddess Jane." Oh, I forgot to call Kerry, the Wizard of Oz thing, all great and powerful. I'm going to need nicknames for everyone so that no one feels left out, because I don't want anyone to feel like I've neglected them. So I tell you what, you're all powerful and wonderful, except the moderators are slightly more, because they're my moderators and they're wonderful and they do good work. But so never surrenders. Ley lines, natural channels of energy, druids? Question mark. I should know this. Oops. I did do a deep dive into ley lines. It's a tricky one because obviously there's no sort of no defining way of proving something. Now mainstream say there is a grid, but they don't call it the ley lines. So it was weird because you could say, well, why not call it the ley lines? Because I think they don't like the idea that ley lines seem to be mystical, as you say, with druids and things like that. So I think they call it an earth grid, but they don't want to say ley lines. I think there is ley lines. I think anything that has energy or frequency, which is a frequency in itself, energy. When you have something as a frequency, I mean, we let off energy without even knowing it. We have an aura. Speaking of an aura, a new video is coming out on soon by me about auras. I've done a little bit of a dive into that. But when you look at ley lines, there's nothing to say. But then you look at dowsing rods and you say, well, hang on a minute, they can't be real either, because it's silly that something can turn a rod and tell you the correct answer to something. But yet people use them and do find the things that they're looking for. I mean, Thames Water over here in the UK pay dowsers to go and find water leaks. So there must be something to it, but we don't have the technology to be able to pinpoint the frequency. The Anunnaki probably did. So when you look at the stone circles that they made, forget Stonehenge, I'm on about over in Africa, the stone circles, they produced energy. The Great Pyramids, or the straight pyramids, I call them straight because ziggurats were buildings for people to live in, but the straight pyramids have energy coming off of them. So they clearly knew where to position certain buildings. The same goes with churches. They built the churches with the spires from. I'm spoiling it now. There's a new video coming out. It's everything you need to know about everything that happened, episode 9, and it goes into why the spires are there on churches and cathedrals, etc., which I don't think anyone's worked out, and you guys will find out. But yeah, it's to do with the energy frequencies of the Earth and the plasma bubbles that form in the air off the ground. So yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, ley lines. I do think they're a real phenomena. Scrolling down. This is live. I read every single question. Never surrenders. Right? Who tried to wipe us clean? Do you believe in the flood, Enlil, because there was noisy in his knowledge? No, the noise part was actually. So the Bible actually does say noise, but they've took that from the Arcturus, which is talking about a localized event where he blocks off waterways, etc. So people got that all mixed up. Yes, there was a flood. I've got an hour-long documentary. It's free of charge. It's on my Patreon page. Hour-long documentary with all the evidence proving that how the flood started, why the flood started, and what happened, and the evidence to prove that sand, sediment, etc., from the ocean was found 70 miles inland, etc., when it was a tsunami, when an ice shelf broke off of Antarctica. So yeah, I've got a documentary if you're interested in it. So who tried to wipe us out? Well, it was to do with the planet Nibiru coming back round, so I'll be as brief as I can. Planet Nibiru was going to come back round, as it does, and their scientists on their planet found out that next time it comes round, Earth and Nibiru will be at the closest they'd ever been, or ever been for a long period. And they warned Enlil about the gravitational of their huge planet causing a problem with Earth. Now, Mars has lost his atmosphere more than likely because of Nibiru. And you could say, well, hang on a minute, how can a planet cause an effect? Well, apparently, Mars has an effect on our oceans. And you think, well, okay, that's interesting. So now imagine a planet 4 to 10 times the size of Mars coming round, then yeah, it will probably affect Earth in some way. So that's what Ragnarok was, by the way, if anyone's interested. Feel free to watch my Ragnarok documentary. So yeah, their planets was coming around. Our planet was coming round and going to be closest to each other. So in the Arcturus, so I'm not making stuff. I don't make stuff up. In the Arcturus, they had an assembly of gods written before the Bible. They had an assembly, and Enlil said, "Look, this is fate. It's going to happen. It was going to happen regardless of whether we was here or not. Our planet and their planet would have been, close to each other." So Enlil says, we need to let whatever's going to happen. So the White Lands, which we know as Antarctica, they had put mooring pins to stop this ice shelf sliding off into the ocean. And so, and this is backed up by Oxford University as well, believe it or not, that they also agree. So, the assembly said, right, okay, it's fate, it's going to happen. It was going to wipe out whatever was here on Earth anyway, so let it happen. Enlil wanted it to happen, not necessarily because of the humans, but he just wanted it to happen because of the fate side of it and the destiny. Enki didn't, so he got swore not to tell anyone. Everyone got swore not to tell anyone what was going to happen. It was about 700 years before the planets came round. So Enki went and told his son, who was Noah, you'll know him as the Azudra, Noah, to build the ark. So he had his wicked way with Batanash. Again, just go read the Book of Enoch and you'll go, yeah, that's not Lamech's son. No way is it. So that's really the reason. Then, of course, they withdrew the mooring pins, and the rest of the story. The flood happened. In fact, Penn Museum has a tablet, and they read it out on a YouTube video on Penn Museum of what happened on the day of the flood. They read it out. So, yeah, very interesting story. But yeah, I've got a lot of that in my documentary. Bella's wrote, "Oh, hi, wise one." Oh, thank you very much, Bella. You sure it's me? Thank you. Bless. Bella's wrote, "I watched your live for 400 minutes. I feel sorry for you. I'm sorry. Don't hate me. Oh, bless you. Never surrender. I feel sorry for you. Have you ever seen the new Stephen King movie about the release disclosure? Do you mean Stephen Greer? Do you mean Stephen Greer? Stephen Greer's yes. Stephen King, no. Steven Spielberg, yes. I've heard about it. Obviously, seen the trailer. Obviously, it's not out till June. Spielberg likes his June movies. Yeah, so, but no, you haven't seen, obviously, I haven't seen the whole film yet. Darwin's put hi with some hearts and a hand. Hi, Darwin, nice of you to join. And he's wrote, what you think happened with Ark of the Covenant? Anunnaki took it or destroyed it? So a lot of researchers seem to think that there's more than one Ark of the Covenant, which makes sense because when you watch my documentary on the Ark of the Covenant, you realise it's, they could have put wheels on the bloody thing. They didn't. Which the only reason why they wouldn't have put wheels back then is because there was no road structures. It was bumpy. So then it suggests that there was some material inside that they didn't want bumped around. You guessed it, gamma radiation. Why gamma? Go watch my documentary. For those of you who don't know, go watch my documentary on why it had something in there that was gamma, that was producing gamma radiation. So, we know the stories of the Ark of the Covenant, where, the walls of Jericho fell when they went round and trumpets blew, etc. But we know that trumpets represent missiles, so we've worked that one out. Well, I've worked that one out. Go watch my documentary on the Book of Revelation. So yeah, so there is something powerful with that arc. So could there have been more than one? Possibly. I can't say yes or no. What would have happened to it? Well, a lot of there's a lot of historians out there that sort of have followed it various different places. Some say it ended up in Scotland, which is very interesting because a stone in Scotland was someone stole the stone underneath. When they do a coronation here in the UK, when they do a coronation of the king or queen, and they have to sit on this throne, and the stone is supposed to be the sacred stone, but unfortunately, someone from Scotland stole it, and they had to use a fake stone underneath. So the Queen wasn't actually properly coronated, apparently, if you go by all of that. I would love to have seen what was on the stone, because there must have been writing on the stone, and the reason why I think there must have been writing on the stone is because A, the Anunnaki wrote on stone, and B, the Anunnaki gave us the crown and scepter, the kingship. They tell us they gave us that. They brought down, their words, not mine, they brought down the crown and scepter from heaven, which we know is space. Well, we know it's space, but there is, I won't bore you with the Nibiru side of it, but yeah. So where is the Ark of the Covenant now? So some say that it's in a church, below a church in Cambodia. I think it's Colombia or Cambodia, one of those. And that there's a priest there that looks after it, and that he gets radiation burns and his eyes go. He basically goes blind, and then another person has to go there and look after it. So that's the story of where it roughly is now. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. The thought that there's only a priest guarding, one of the most historical artifacts on this planet, you'd think someone, I'm not saying that I want them to do that, but you'd think these rich people that the trophy hunters, those type, would have went in there and forced their way in and stole it. I mean, we have people going in to museums stealing stuff, as we know from the Baghdad Museum. So, with one lonely priest, it's not that difficult to get in there and, nab this priceless artifact. And you've got people climbing. What was that one recently in France where they climbed up a ladder outside the thing, went in, broke in, stole some jewelry, etc. You don't need to do any of that. You just go to this bloody monastery, and if it's really there, and steal that, and then you'd have the most priceless piece of anything on the whole planet. You could say, well, what about the Cup of Christ, or what about Julie Garland's red ruby slippers? But when you've got a weapon that comes with it, that trumps a cup and it trumps the red ruby slippers. So yeah, so I don't know where it is. Whoever's got it, if it is holding that kind of power or radiation, they shouldn't open it anyway, really. So I don't know, Andy. So it's a good question. Never Surrenders wrote, when do you work and need to be paid? That's fair. Sorry, you do need to work and be paid. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Samantha. And thank you, Never Surrender. I hate talking about money. I hate asking for money. I hate anything to do with money, because it makes me feel like I'm a beggar. And I don't like that. I'm not that. I work my butt off. But I don't like asking people for money. And so when my daughter told me to do a Patreon, I was like, no, I don't want to do it. And she kept saying, Dad, you're spending so much time doing these videos and everything, just charge a couple of quid for crying out loud. And so I ended up taking her advice, which I don't like. You can see I hate talking about it. Never Surrenders wrote Statue of Liberty. I'm not sure what that's referring to. There is some suggestions that the Statue of Liberty is in Anna. But I need to. And then underneath you wrote Statue of Liberty, and then you wrote, is Lucifer? No, he was a king. I mean, that's written. So Statue of Liberty is a queen. It's got a crown on her, so I guess you could call her a queen. But no, he was a bloke for sure. Why don't you just watch my documentary? It's free this weekend. It's on my Patreon page, Lucifer, and you'll find out exactly who he was, and who his mum was, and who his sister was. Never Surrenders wrote Pyramids, Ley Lines, I bet. Yeah, I agree. Nichols wrote, do you think that the leaders from different religions get together to plan how to control, to lie to people? Oh, interesting question. Go number 2 in the class for that. So it's a good question. I'm just thinking while I'm talking. I mean, you've got, the leaders of the religion. So, for example, the Pope, he only knows, everything's a need to know basis. He only knows what he's been told when he becomes a Pope. So when you say the leaders, he wouldn't know what's going on. It's the people that are behind him that put him in charge and run the Vatican and everything else, and run. You got to remember the Vatican City is its own little country, and it has its own money and everything. So, the Pope won't be dealing with any of that. So yeah, I would say no to the actual leaders, but yes to the people behind. I mean, the prime ministers, etc., and the presidents and that, they're all just puppets, sadly. There's people behind them. So the only one that I could say for sure that wasn't a puppet would have been George Bush Sr., because he was the head of CIA before he ended up becoming, the president. So he would have known a lot of stuff, a hell of a lot of stuff. So yeah, I would say there are. I mean, supposedly there's the Bilderberg group where they go and have meetings and discuss what's going on in the world. How many of those go to Davros? How many of those are in the WHO and the WEF? Don't know, but they're the ones that basically, rule the planet and decide how to screw us over. So yeah, good question. Good number 2 in the class for that. Yeah, it's a good question. But I don't think it's the heads. I think it's people behind them. Never Surrenders wrote, vibrating particles of matter frequencies. Earth has one also. The whole universe has. Yeah, everything is a frequency. Never Surrenders wrote, I believe that Enlil Earth machine, Giza, and Hall of Records underneath being hidden. I believe the Enlil Earth machine. Not sure what you mean by that. And then you wrote Hall of Records underneath being hidden. Personally, I think so. My own personal feelings are, because obviously, the Hall of Records, which would be everything everywhere from the whole universe, stuck underneath a Sphinx because the Anunnaki managed to have it, and it doesn't sit right with me. Or the Akashic records or anything like that. My gut feeling is so, and this is kind of based off of evidence. So we know the tablets of destiny were hidden in a labyrinth, protected by a bull, or the Bull of Heaven it was called, and that's in the Epic of Gilgamesh. So prior to that, because obviously that happened well after the Sphinx was built. So prior to that, after the Great Flood, Enlil needed to put these tablets of destiny somewhere, and so the logical place would have been hide them somewhere like underneath the Sphinx paw until he had somewhere better. Because just after the Great Flood, everything was gone. All of their buildings and everything they had built prior had gone. So I think the Tablets of Destiny was probably put there. So it's not really a Hall of Records, it was the Tablets of Destiny, but then they got moved because Enlil moved them at least twice after that. So we ended up with them in the Labyrinth, and then we ended up with them where Anzu took them and stole them, basically. So that's my educated guess on what was underneath the Sphinx. Shara wrote, you do have the best mods. They show up all the time, every time. I know, and I feel so bad. Sometimes I wanted to do lives, and I thought, no, I won't do a live. And this is a truth. I think I won't do a live because I feel sorry for the mods, because they could be watching TV and suddenly now they're stuck helping me. I feel bad. They are the best. They're absolutely fantastic. Kelly Gardner has wrote, yes, the spires and the bells in them add the frequency. Yes, spot on. Yeah. Someone's been doing the homework. Well done. Never Surrenders wrote, my take is noise means advanced knowledge. Our knowledge made us noisy. Okay, no, I hear what you're saying. It's a very interesting point. I hear what you're saying. Could that have been the case? Could that have been, instead of noise, could that have been? I'm just thinking out loud. So the Arthur talks about Enlil, saying that humans are too noisy. Now, Enlil would have at least slept for 7 days, 7 nights as one night for him. And then he would have been awake at least 7 days and 7 nights for one day for him. But obviously, for us, 7 days for his one night while he's trying to sleep, would we be noisy around where he was? Yes. Did he have temples around where people were? Yes. Did he have a spaceship in orbit according to the Book of Ezekiel and the Book of Enoch? Yes. Did he go to the orbiting spacecraft at points? Yes. But would he have stayed down here in his own temple? Yes. Were the humans noisy at that point? Yes. Would he have tried to wipe out the ones local to him, as opposed to if he was up on a spaceship saying that they're too knowledgeable? Would he have wiped out people local to where his temple is? No. So that suggests then to me that it was physical noise as opposed to because he cut off the waterways. That's how the 10 plagues of Egypt happened. He cut off the waterways, and all the animals, all the the frogs and whatnot, and the locusts all went to the Nile en masse, and that was what happened with and he even set a plague going. There's the name of the plague is actually in the Arthur, which again, if you know anything about the 10 plagues of Egypt, you ended up with these boils and a plague. So would he have done that locally if he thought the whole of the human knowledge was too much? Probably not. But I'm guessing what you're saying is the Great Flood also used the word noise, and the Bible can actually translate to word noise, believe it or not. So was it noise on that occasion, or did the Bible just get it wrong, like it done many times? Can't say. So it's a fair point you bring up. Did the Bible get it wrong, or on the second time was it referring to? In fact, it was actually the first time. So the noise, the flood came before the localized thing. So yeah, it's a very fair point. So I tell you what, because wasn't a question, it was your thought. Get a gold star for that. I like that. That's very interesting. Good thinking. Paul Jams has wrote, is it a 34,000 year cycle? 3,600, not 34,000. So 3,600. And it was classed as a shah. That was what the Anunnaki called a year for them, a shah. And we can actually work all of that out. We've actually got tablets in Penn Museum that gives us a complete breakdown. I've put it up on my Patreon page, in fact, complete breakdown of the years of when the tablets were talked about and stuff like that. So it's definitely 445,000 years ago. Alula came, and around 444,000 years. I say around because it's hard to know exactly, but is when Enki came round. So it was a year to build the craft, but of course it could have been a year for them, which is 3,600 years. So it's hard to know, because when after the Great Flood, they thank you, Shane. After the Great Flood, they started using Earth years in their texts, but obviously we have some mentions of Shahs. So thank you again, Shanester. So it's really hard to know sometimes when they're talking about things. Is it 7 days our days, or is it 7 days their days? It's kind of, you have to try and work it out. It's hard. Scrolling down. This is live. I read every single question out. scrolling down. Nicole's wrote, are there any major Anunnaki sites that have yet to be discovered based on the tablets available? Very interesting question. Technically, yes. So it's a really good question. Go number one in the class for that. So, yes. So the Anunnaki named the places when they first got here. So we know Eridu, that's still there. They named Dilmun, they named, and obviously they named Mesopotamia, they named Shurpak, and they named loads and loads of places. And they named Kem, or Kemet as some people call it. So we know that they named places, and some of those names for those places that they named, we don't know where they are. And I say we, mainstream don't know where they are. Even Irvin Finkel, when I've listened to him, when someone asked him, "Oh, so where is that?" He goes, "We don't actually know." So yes, there's lots of places that we don't know where it is, and that's not because we can't tie the name up with the location. It's because the chances are it's now buried under 100 foot of sand, sediment, etc., which they have physically found evidence of. Again, Penn Museum's got photographs of them digging down 100 foot, and then finding that there was a settlement or a building or something 100 foot down underneath all this sand and sediment and mud from the deluge, from the ice shelf breaking off, causing a tsunami. So some of these places that they talk about could be 100 foot down. So, for example, as Zachariah Sitchin says, Sapur, which was in Mesopotamia, Sapur was the spaceport. But there's no, according to mainstream, there's no solid buildings or landing pads or anything like that. It's all sort of mud bricks and things like that that's easily destroyed that they found. So could Zachariah Sitchin have been wrong when he says Sapur was the spaceport? No, he could be right. It could be 100 foot down. They're not digging. They don't dig everywhere 100 foot down. So the chances are the mud buildings that they find on top is after the Great Flood, which makes a lot of sense. But then there was a second spaceport, because obviously after the Great Flood they had to rebuild one, and that was in Lebanon, which we know as the Triathlon stones, which was later on built on top of with Roman buildings. So there was basically three humongous stones. You've seen one still in the ground. I'm sure you have, the Baalbek Lebanon stone. That's still there. That didn't get moved. But there's three of those other ones that make this massive landing pad. And nothing else was on top of it until the Romans came along. So you don't just dig out and make three massive stone structure for no reason at all. You only do that if you're going to have a freaking heavy something sitting on top of it, which would have been the landing pad. So, so good question. The answer to your question is yes, there's places, but it's probably because they're buried and the old descriptions of them they can't find now because they don't understand that, or some of them can't be bothered to look 100 foot underneath the ground. Never Surrenders wrote, do you believe we are on a countdown? And if you do, to what? Another Noah flood? No. So the only reason why we had that flood is because the ice shelf in Antarctica, the size of America, slid off into the ocean, caused a tsunami as high as the sky, according to the Anunnaki, as high as the sky, and then wiped us out. Now, again, we've got ocean stuff 70 miles inland. That shouldn't have happened. You don't suddenly have that and then things buried 100 foot unless there was a tsunami, a huge one. So that ice, according to Admiral Byrd, that ice is gone because he said the size of America doesn't have ice on it in Antarctica, which is another reason why we're not allowed there. So, going back to your question, do you believe that there is a countdown? Certainly not to the flood. That won't happen again. The Anunnaki's planet coming round would be the next countdown, other than the depopulation that the elites are doing at the moment. So the planet coming round, Nibiru, depending on where we are and where it is, we will get hit with probably meteorites. That's a fact. There's no getting around that. We will get hit by meteorites. And that's because when Nibiru comes around, the gravity pushes, it goes between the asteroid, well, it goes, the asteroid belt basically is where it turns, that's where its perigee is and goes back out. So we will get hit by meteorites. That's not me saying that. You go back, look at the records, you'll see meteorites every 3,600 years, give or take. And so apparently, even from the Native Americans, they used to talk about, the blue star, or the destroyer, wormwood. Wormwood isn't it, but some people call it wormwood because they don't. Wormwood's something else. But yeah, they talk about asteroids coming down before and after this event. So we're going to get hit by asteroids. And again, the Anunnaki talked about asteroids a hell of a lot in their tablets, which they called leopards, they called vipers. Groups of them were like vipers. Comets, if it's got a towel with water, it was called a dragon, and so on. And every time their planet come round, Earth will be hit by them. So it's not. We will get that again. How bad? Don't know, but we will get hit again. 6:30. Thank you, Jane. That's really helpful. Thank you very much. Bless you, Goddess Jane, and Goddess everyone else as well. Don't want to leave anyone out. Kelly's wrote Stone of Destiny. What is it? So it's called a Tablet of Destiny, and there's a few descriptions of it, or what. So mainstream call it a star chart. That's what mainstream say. They believe it is. The Tablet of Destiny is a star chart. Talking about planets, orbits, etc. Which you could say, okay, that's fine. That's probably what it is. But then you look at the tablet in Penn Museum, where Anu takes it and says that he can whistle and make stars disappear in the sky. So it's some sort of magic tablet, and you think, well, what the hell's going on here? That's a little bit more than just, a sacred map of the stars and their orbits, etc. And then you think, well, hang on a minute, they've got technology to come all the way here. They have tablets, when I say tablets, not stone tablets, they have technology where because messages were being brought down from thingy, and they had to use a password to get into these messages, so only the royals could do that. So they have technology. So are they really that struggling to only have one tablet that tells us, and a physical stone tablet that tells us what the orbits are, etc.? I doubt that. They're not that stupid to say, "Oh, this is a Tablet of Destiny." And of course, when you listen to the Moorhen translations or read the Moorhen translations, they talk about that Tiamat had the Tablets of Destiny and transferred them to Kingu, which ended up becoming our moon. So you got to ask, what Tablets of Destiny are they? So it's something to do with celestial, for sure. Why they couldn't have a second copy of it? Because once Anzu took it, the Anunnaki were petrified. So that's the whole thing. You read the battle between I think it was called Anzu and the Monster. They called things monsters, and snakes and serpents. Yes, you guessed it. That's where Adam and Eve come into it. So yeah, Stone of Destiny. Can't really tell you. It's something to do with the celestial stuff. That's the best I can tell you, I'm afraid. Sorry, it's a good question. Go number 3 in the class for that, but I can't tell you, I'm afraid. And Never Surrenders wrote, I can argue Noah's flood is a cycle originating from our core that we are in the middle of now. Okay, so we've got Oxford University saying that there was a great flood caused by an ice shelf breaking off of Antarctica. So we've got that. We've got tablets from the Anunnaki telling us that the White Lands are going to have, they need to remove the mooring pins so that the flood can happen, the deluge they called it. So we've got two bits of corroborating evidence there, plus we've obviously got evidence of the Great Flood. Now we've also got evidence that it come from the Antarctic, because the first places that got covered over, if you look at the way that the waves came, inland, was Africa and the Middle East. So in other words, America didn't get hit in the way that those did. So we can kind of pinpoint it backwards to say, yes, something come from Antarctica, which is probably how Oxford University has come to that conclusion. So I've given you three bits of conclusions there. So if you could give me your conclusion, I'm not knocking you, I'd be interested to know yours, how it originated from our core. Now, bearing in mind, I have said, and I'm probably one of the only few people that have said our core is ice. And as time goes on, mainstream are now slowly agreeing that no, it's not solid iron, it's now molten iron, then it's liquid iron, and now it's may not be iron at all. And now they're saying that the outer core is definitely not iron, it's water. And now they're saying that underneath our crust there's water, blah, blah, blah. So I think I'm probably going to be right as always. But I'd be interested to know what kind of evidence you've got, if anything at all, to say that the flood was caused from. Now you've got to remember, when you say we're in the middle of the cycle now, you have to do a bit of calculations. I don't mean to sound rude, but you have to use a bit of logic. So in order for you to be able to calculate something, you generally need it, to see a pattern, you at least need it to happen twice. So then you can say, well, the last flood was 12,000 years ago. The flood before that was 12,000 years ago, or 24. So then you can sort of say, okay, maybe it's getting shorter. So the 24, 12, 6. So you could do it that way. Or you could say they're all, the previous two that we're aware of was 12,000 years apart. So therefore we're due another one in another 6,000, 8,000 years or whatever it is. So in order for you to know that we're inside the middle of this cycle, I'd be very interested to know how you can work that out without having two of the other ones, because you said it's a cycle, which means it's happened at least more than once. So what evidence? Don't hate me. This is how my brain works. This is why my videos are the best out there. And yes, I'm big-headed. But yeah, I'd be very interested in how you got to that. I'm wondering if the moderators has asked that question as well. So on my new live chat, I would have seen whether the moderator would have replied to that. Never Surrenders wrote, you're an author and a producer. I have produced movies, I've directed movies, if that's what you're referring to. I'm an author. God, anything else you want to throw at? I'll take it. I'll take it today. Samantha's wrote, nah, you're our God, no worries. Thank you, Samantha. It's very kind of you. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody, just for those that's new here. Never Surrenders wrote, Pope has a space for the Antichrist on the Vatican wall of the popes. To me, there is no Antichrist. So, he died. He's long gone. There's just another character that came and went that the Anunnaki created, just like they created the Akhenaten bloodline. So there's no point in me looking into that, because he's dead. Bella's wrote, the people who think we are leaders are always figureheads. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, agree with that. Kerry's wrote to Never Surrender, Earth's inner core is solid iron, outer core is liquid iron. Kerry, I don't, I love you to pieces, but if you do go and look, you'll see some institutions says it's solid, and a lot now are saying it's liquid or molten. At school, I that's why when I was shocked, because at school I was told it was a solid iron core, and I always wondered how the hell they know that. But now, if you look online, you'll see many institutions are saying it's Hawaii, for example. Hawaii university said that they believe it's now molten. So I'm just throwing it out there. So I'm going to help you out, Kerry. So I feel bad. Kerry says, I believe Earth's core is solid iron, because obviously no one really knows for sure, but there's a lot of people now, a lot of institutions now saying that it's not solid, which is weird because obviously I was told it was solid as well. Bella's wrote, the elected are preordained in many cases. Yes, yeah, I agree again with that. Shara's wrote, your knowledge on old churches with huge bells, chimes, sound and healing vibration centers. I'm actually due to release a video on bells and churches in, when is it? Probably 15 days or something like that. So I don't want to give too much away because it's very, very interesting. So all I can say is just hold on. There'll be a documentary regarding healing frequencies, etc., on the bells. So I have been looking into it. So it'll be a documentary dropping soon. And when I've got documentaries dropping soon, I don't like to say too much about them because otherwise no one's going to want to watch the documentary. So forgive me, but it's already up on. It's got a countdown, so it's it's coming. It's got a countdown timer already on the video on my Patreon page. Scrolling down. Never Surrenders wrote, which brings me to birds falling and whales beaching and drifting northern lights. I know you're talking to Kerry, but yeah, my take on that is HARP. They also have underground, under ocean frequencies as well that they use, which beaches the whales. So that's Stranos wrote, why do you think? Oh, is that your? Sorry, was that your argument of to why? Sorry. Oh, this is probably the so Never Surrenders wrote, Earth crust displacement. Our core has stopped, and prediction is reversal. So that's when I was asked him what evidence he's got that we're in a particular cycle. Earth crust displacement. Our core has, in capital letters, stopped. Stop doing what? Well, I'm sure Kerry's asking you for the evidence that our core has stopped. I'd be very interested to know how you know our core stopped when, as I just said, no one knows what our core's made of. There's so many different stories out there. Mine's probably right, bearing in mind that the planets are formed because of ice, because of water. In fact, we was called a snowball Earth when Earth was suddenly here, and that was because it smashed up from Tiamat. Kerry's citing our iron core has stopped rotating. Never Surrenders replying to Kerry. Our iron core has stopped rotating. Neil deGrasse Tyson and Maku Kokyu. Yeah, you do realise how many videos I've debunked Neil deGrasse Tyson on. So do me a favour, Never Surrender. Quick, go and ask Neil deGrasse Tyson for the evidence. This is going to sound really rude. I'm going to sound so patronising, but this is how it works. Tell you what, tell me the evidence that you got from those guys that it stopped. Bearing in mind, we don't even know. You look at different institutions and they'll tell you it's liquid, it's solid, it's molten, it's iron, it's not iron, it's maybe water. So for them to know that it's stopped moving, that's even if it was moving, we don't really know it's moving. See, the reason why I say it's ice is because when you have ice, we have water underneath the crust. That's been proven. But when you have ice melting, it will come up as steam and can break continents. That's why Earth has more water now, or bigger size, should I say, than what it was originally when Earth was first here, which means we got extra water from somewhere, somehow, on the surface. Scrolling down. Stano's right. Why do you think here in the USA we are not allowed to go only so far in the Grand Canyon? Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, I've done a whole a chapter in my book on the Grand Canyon, one of my books. Yeah, basically there were people that the Anunnaki took over to the Grand Canyon. Those people were from Egypt. They were there to mine. That's what the Anunnaki had them doing. And so they stayed there for a long period of time. Back then, the water level was probably higher in the Grand Canyon. And so the cave that they found, way up high that you couldn't get to normally, that would have probably been water level. So they probably had this cave system in there, which, as in fact, one of the artifacts. It's so funny how easy it is to debunk stupid people like mainstream. So Smithsonian's long story. Let me know if you want to know the story. But yeah, so basically there are things in the Grand Canyon to do with Egypt that shouldn't have been there, and so they're probably stopping us from figuring that out. In fact, some of the locations in the Grand Canyon are actually named after Egyptian gods. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you. You don't have to, Nicole. I do this because I enjoyed doing it. Nicole's right. Do you think the Jinn also possesses Bigfoot, Anunnaki, and other races too? Oh, interesting question. Well, if you believe Linda Moulton Howe when she said that 3 different aliens are trying to steal each other's orbs, that suggests to me that the orb is connected with those aliens. So, because otherwise it would be, oh well, I'll keep my orb safe somewhere, But if it sounds like they're sort of fighting them to grab their orbs, which makes you think that the aliens do have orbs with them. So I would, just as a guess, I would say yes to the orbs on that. Now, pineal glands, the creatures that have pineal glands have been seen by clairvoyants and mediums, spiritualists, etc. So the question really is, does the Anunnaki have spirits joining them? I would say yes, because they talked about spirits. They knew about spirits before. Thank you, Pac. Can I call you Pac? I'm terrible at pronunciations, let alone names. That's probably the username as well. So if it's okay, I'll just call you Pac. Thank you for that. So yes, the Anunnaki were fully aware prior to us humans about spirits. So yes, they would know about orbs. So would a jinn, which I believe is the other type, the second type of orb, would they have tried to take over the Anunnaki? Yeah, can't see why they wouldn't have done. If they're eternal, even though the Anunnaki live long, these things, energy doesn't die, so they'd be around for eternity. So yes, they would probably join with the Anunnaki. Bigfoot, don't know whether he's got a pineal gland, so I can't answer that. It seems like the creatures that are possessed are the ones that have pineal glands. So yeah, so good question. Got number 2 in the class, so that's a good question. Strano is right. I read there are caves there in the Grand Canyon with hidden things. Yes, what I was just saying about. Yeah, there is. Yeah, absolutely. And Smithsonian says no, they're not. This is what I was just talking about. So the Smithsonian says, yes. Long story short, yes, there is things in the Grand Canyon that they don't want us to know about. Diaz wrote, have you heard of Orions or Zetas ever mentioning Anunnaki? Thank you, Kelly. Thank you. No, I've never heard that, but the chances that an alien race would tell a person they've just abducted about another alien race is probably slim. So I doubt they would ever tell us about them. I mean, they're not daft either. They're not, they know that we're a young planet, etc., and we're a young species, blah, blah, blah. So the chances that there'll be, this is what makes me laugh with all these so-called channelers on TikTok. Every one of them's fake. The CI5 or CIA or FBI or any of those 3-letter agencies would have nabbed people with that kind of knowledge in a heartbeat. So yeah, no, they They've not mentioned it. I've never heard of it. Interesting question though, but yeah, I can't answer that one. Collins wrote 36 spot on. Yeah, we're breaking the 30 or 40 today. I think people are really interested, and TikTok limits me to 30, by the way, and we normally get to 40 and it drops back down to 30. But we've broke the 40 mark because I think people are hopefully enjoying it. Scrolling down, people chatting to each other. Collins wrote alchemize. I don't know what that means. Alchemize. I've never heard that word. ALCHEMISE. I've never heard that word, or if I have, I don't know what it means. Sorry. Scrolling down. Collins wrote, there were two Adams and Lilith was the one woman. So you don't follow me, so I'm not sure if you know. So basically, when it's going to sound so bigoted, but what I say, no one ends up debunking. So the chances are that I'm probably right. So when you say two Adams, so the first one was called Adamu, which I'm guessing you're referring to as the very first Homo sapien. Then we ended up with Adapa 200,000 years later, which was the first Homo sapiens sapien. Adapa was the Adam you know as Adam and Eve. Lilith was the first female that came out with at the same time as Adamu, the very first Homo sapien. Lilith was never ever knew Adam. That was 200,000 years later. She never knew Adam or Adapa. Lilith was the. Feel free to watch my documentaries on Adam and Eve and Lilith, etc. Yeah, Lilith didn't know Adam. Lilith was the one that couldn't have children with Adamu. That's the reason why, in the stories about Lilith, she spurned Adam and she didn't want children with him, and no, it was the first female couldn't have kids. And we've actually got a tablet where Enki's talking about his rib hurting because Ningazida took stem cells from or something from Enki's rib and injected it into Adamu, and took something from Ninma's rib and put it into the female so they could actually breed, because they couldn't breed when they first created them. Collins wrote one Adam was corrupted. No, neither of those were corrupted. Happy to show you the evidence, but if you've got evidence that there was two Adams and one was corrupted. So sorry, Colin, I know you're probably thinking, oh, he's picking on me. I'm not. The reason why I'm not debunked is because I go through everything with a fine bloody tooth comb. And so I would need to see your evidence. You can just tell me how there was two Adams and how one was corrupted. I'll be happy just to hear your version of it without the evidence. But I bring the evidence. Sorry, don't hate me. Collins wrote, Enki hid the realm. Enki, I'm guessing you mean Enki hid the real Adam. He hid. You're partly right, actually. Well done. He hid Adam and Eve on his spaceship. That's correct, for the first 24 years of their life, as it says in the book of Adam and Eve. And then when one of the other Anunnakis tried to make them eat the fruit that hopefully would kill them, but it didn't, and so he hoped that Enki would kill him as well for eating it and disobeying him. He didn't. He sent him down to his garden, which was in Eridu, and we know that because he had a sentry gun on his gate, which you'll know in the Bible as cherubim. Scroll down. Kelly's wrote, do you know when it's due to come around again? Hard to say. It's a fair question, but it's hard to say. The reason why it's hard to say is because we know it as 3,600 years, because that's what the Anunnaki tell us as a Shah. Now, according to Zachariah Sitchin, it's speeding up, which is fine. The moon's apparently moving away from us, so after 4.5 billion of Earth years, is it speeding up? It could be. Is the orbit speeding up? Could be. But we also don't know whether it was 3,600 on the dot. Was it 3,600 on the dot when they first came here, and did it get, a year every, did it get, was it ended up, for all we know, it could be 3,699 now, and so every 99 means another 99 years we have to wait before it comes around. So there is no hard and fast date that we're aware of. Obviously, the people that the military and everything that know about Nibiru know when it's going to be here, but we don't. So the best we can do is really go between 500 and 900 years, and that's based off of when their planet came around when the Great Flood happened. So we can work that one out because we know when that happened, and that was around 12,000, give or take, BC. Sorry, 10,000 BC, 12,000 years from us from now. So when you do that, you can sort of work out roughly every 3,600 years, and then you can sort of work out when it's roughly due. But again, it's really difficult to say, because if Sitchin's right and it's speeding up for whatever reason, is it only just speeding up now? Was it speeding up back then? Is it getting exponentially sped up for any reason? So it's really difficult for us to know. But the majority of the people, including myself, put it between 500 and 900. Mine's more 700, but it's a toss coin job, I'm afraid. But thank you for the question. So I'm afraid I can't give you a definitive answer on that. Never Surrenders wrote, when the pure cores stop, we hit by flare and asteroids because no magnetic shielding. Well, it turns out you can still have a magnetic north and south pole even with ice. That's why I did my homework on that. But when you say, so you're saying that in the past when we did have it spinning, we never got hit by asteroids. Well, unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be true, because we have actually got craters. In fact, Skinwalker Ranch was hit by an asteroid many, or meteorite, should I say, many millions of years ago. And even the dagger that Tutankhamun has is made out of an asteroid. So asteroids did get through. So when you say when the pure core stop, we get hit by flare and asteroids. So unfortunately, asteroids still get through regardless of whether or not our core stops. Magnolia's wrote interesting topic. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. I do cover more than the Anunnaki. It's just most people ask me about the Anunnaki. I got on my documentaries. There's all sorts of things. Even Agatha Christie's new. I did one on Agatha Christie. Did you know she went missing for 11 days? Yeah, I won't spoil it. Go. It's on. It's on YouTube, in fact. Never Surrenders wrote, birds falling, marine life breaching is a massive number, poles and northern lights drifting. Birds fall, yeah. So unfortunately, there's chemicals in the sky. That's a fact. So are birds falling because of the chemicals in the sky? Birds do die as well. They can have heart attacks. It's not like they don't die. Thank you, Shanester. And then you've got weather modification by HAARP, HAARP, that causes the weather to mess up, and it also causes the whales. When they use the underwater one, it also causes them to get disorientated. So birds also probably have some sort of navigation system in their brains, and of course, when they don't, they end up hitting buildings, etc. Collins wrote, time to unite and lift the veil as above, so below. Well, that was actually to do with the asteroid belt. I don't know if you're aware of that. So the asteroid belt's got water on it, which you should know. Ceres is made of water. The small, they call it a planet, but technically it does orbit the sun because it goes round. But yeah. So Ceres has got water, basically covered in water, and the asteroid belt is covered in water, vapor, but water. And that's because the original planet that was there that got smashed up became asteroid belt was an ice planet called Tiamat. And so when the Anunnaki came here, when the asteroid belt was first created because of the Tiamat break-in, the Anunnaki tightened it together and called it the hammer bracelet. Feel free to watch my documentary on the firmament, and they called it the firmament, which is basically the vault between. It was locking the 3 planets in, and so that's what the firmament is. Anyway, so they call it as above, so below, because above there's their planets, and so they even call it different heavens. They call it one heaven is their side, and then inside the firmament is another heaven. That's why in the Bible it talks about heavens, and in the Anunnaki's time it talks about heavens plural, which is space. So, which has been proven as well if you're interested. Scrolling down, the cultural Anunnaki used words like monster for things not liked. What words did they use for things they liked? Oh, that's an interesting question. Okay, so they used words like psi, S-I, bell. I recently did a bloody video on. It was on. So if you go to, I'm trying to remember them all. It's hard to remember them all. So on my latest video, which is called, or one of my latest videos, which is called Tablet 7 of the Enuma Release, I read the Tablet 7 out and explain it as I go. And I explain some of the words that they use. And it's very pompousy. It's like amazing, those kind of words, but in their own words. Miraculously, divine, brilliant, all those kind of things. So yes, they use those. Marduk was the one that wrote the Enuma Release, so you can see that he praised himself like nobody's business when you read it. But yeah, so they did have those words to praise people. I mean, Artrahasis himself wasn't a name; it was a meaning. It meant extremely wise, which one day someone's going to call me Artrahasis. But yeah, so there was more than one Artrahasis. So extremely wise. So they use those names. It's like sort of a nickname, but a nice one, if that makes sense. Because otherwise they would have just used their normal name all the time, but they didn't. They called them, extremely wise when they had a real name anyway. So, but they carried on calling them those positive names. It's like me calling Numpties all the time. They may have a real name, but they're still a Numpty. And so they did the same. They called the praising names. So it was a good question. It's going to feel like favoritism if we keep putting you in the class. But it was a good question. No one's asked me that before. So go number 3 in the class. Collins wrote everything are in cycles. Mainly because of the Anunnaki's planet coming around, cyclical. When you say everything's in cycles, I disagree with the word everything, but I kind of know where you're going with it. Never Surrenders wrote, will the core drag the surface is a quantifiable question regarding declassified Adam and Eve story. Will the core... Sort of sounds like a question and an answer in the same thing here. Will the core drag the surface is a quantifiable question regarding declassified Adam and Eve story. I'm unaware of a declassified Adam and Eve story other than the one that I've researched, I guess. Kerry's asked the question that I couldn't be bothered. What's the correlation between the core drag and Adam and Eve? There's still loads of people who've got questions, so this is live. Bella's wrote, Happy Valentine's Day. Oh, thank you, Bella. That's very nice of you. Thank you very much. And to you too. Collins wrote, Joshua came to show you the way is inside you all. Yeah, I'm guessing you're religious. Yeah, you might not want to hear me talk about the gods because obviously Joshua and Jesus and all that lot. Jesus was a hybrid. Feel free to watch my amazing documentary on who's Jesus' real father is. It's on YouTube. Do you know how many people even? Do you know how many people said that's wrong? None. Not even religious people. They just give up. It's just like, well, the guy's got evidence. How the hell am I going to complete with that? I'm just going to look stupid. But feel free to watch it, Colin, if you're interested. 7 p.m. Thank you. Wow. Okay. Thank you. That's really helped. Okay. I whizzed through them. Charles wrote, good thing I'm a Patreon member. Oh, bless you. Thank you very much. I don't know who you are on Patreon because there's obviously different names, but I'm glad you are, and hopefully there's plenty more stuff to come. Plenty more. Yeah, I won't bore you now with the stuff. Real Silver's put thumbs up. Hi, Real Silver. Kerry's wrote, I'll agree that the Earth's core composition is debatable. No worries. All good here. Never Surrenders wrote, seismic data over a period of years. Yeah, that doesn't actually prove that it's from the center of the Earth. There's no way of measuring that it's actually coming from the center of the Earth. So, unfortunately, that's not correct. Never Surrenders wrote, all I'm trying to say is something very serious is going on with our core, which needs much research. I'd heard that back in the 80s. Honestly, I had. Now you could say, well, maybe it's still the same thing. Could be. But my concern would be more about the depopulation from the elites than it would be the core having an issue. It's just I'm not belittling what you're saying. I'm just saying that's my. Strano's wrote, yes, I read that about the artifacts in the Grand Canyon were Egyptian. Yeah, they were. The beautiful thing is, this is what I was trying to say earlier. The evidence. So, long story short, this guy, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. It's in my book if you're interested. This guy was working for the Smithsonian, and he went round collecting artifacts for the Smithsonian, and he come across this cave in the Grand Canyon, maybe told about it by natives or something, I don't know. And inside was many artifacts. It was a long cave, blah blah blah. And so he then told everyone about it, went to the newspaper, they wrote about it. Then the Smithsonian said, oh no, because you've got to remember, when you look at the Smithsonian, you end up with Rockefellers. So the Smithsonian said, no, nothing to do with us, doesn't even work for us, blah, blah, blah. No, but by then the guy had already gone back to the Smithsonian and given what he'd found. And then found out that he'd told the newspaper, and so the newspaper wrote an article on it. So we have the actual article. So then the next paper comes out, and Smithsonian's saying in the thing, sorry, it's just fake. This guy's fake. He always makes up fake stories, nothing to do with us whatsoever. So you think, okay, fine, it's a fake story. But the newspaper described one of the artifacts that the guy got from the Grand Canyon. It's in gold. Guess what? Smithsonian has it on show. Bingo. Damn, am I good. Now, back then, even in my book, I wrote down how much that would have been worth. So for him to have found gold, created this artifact, and then gave it to the Smithsonian because he worked for them, but apparently didn't, according to the Smithsonian, gave it to him for nothing. Yeah, I think you can all work out that the guy was telling the truth. And, it's the same as the Roswell crash. Oh, it's a UFO. The powers that be find out. No, it was a weather balloon. That's the same thing that happened with the Grand Canyon. Collins wrote, where are more powerful? We're more powerful than the Anunnaki Enki made us so. In what way? I'll be interested to know why you say that. The only reason why I would say we're more powerful is because of our lifespan. So we can do something where they sleep for technically they should really be sleeping for about 30 days, 30 nights, but where we sleep and wake up, we can crack on with whatever it was we were doing. And so in 1 year of their time, 3,600 years of ours has passed, in which case we've invented something quicker than they have on their planet. So that's the only reason why I would think, but I'd be interested to know your thoughts on that. Storano's wrote, is there land beyond the ice wall in the Antarctica? Is that why no one can fly over? No, there's no ice wall. Not one. Right. Okay, it says very clearly, not one person has ever bumped into an ice wall anywhere other than the North and South Pole, which is where ice is. Not one. More people, Columbus, Blackbeard, the pirate, more people have said they've seen mermaids than the 0 people that's ever said they've bumped into an ice wall anywhere other than the North and South Pole. The reason why we're not allowed in Antarctica was the size of America slid off into the ocean, caused the Great Flood, and now there's oil, there's minerals, there's animals, there's probably dinosaurs, for crying out loud. Whatever's there, they don't want us to know. The Anunnaki may have even moved there. There is no ice wall. Yes, there's Iceland. Right, so so you're going to go, oh, but Admiral Byrd said there's beyond the pole, there's more land. Yes, listen to him carefully. He says, beyond the pole, this is his words, I quote it, beyond the pole, in the South Pole. What he's referring to is the pole that Scott of the Antarctica put in there. Byrd was the first person to fly past that pole in a plane that could actually go further with the fuel. So when he come across land, extra land, silly, stupid people think that there's extra land beyond an invisible dome or wall or some crap. No. Imagine you had a packet of biscuits and you thought you ate them all a week ago. Yeah? Pack of 10 biscuits, you've eaten them all, job done. Today you go in a cupboard, you see there's an extra biscuit. Oh man! I thought I ate them all. Extra biscuit, brilliant, I'll have that. Doesn't mean there was 11 biscuits, just means you've got the extra land that you didn't think was available to you. So that's all it is. So yes, that's Collins wrote, all humans have a pineal gland. Okay, so you have to be careful how you say pineal humans, Colin. Sorry, you're going to think I'm very pedantic. I'm not. I'm just damn good at what I do, so that I don't get caught out, and that's all. It's nothing personal. So when you say human, we use the word human as an umbrella term for hominids, which technically isn't the actual correct terminology. The word human was to do with Adamu, which was the first Homo sapiens. So, but mainstream say humans as, Homo sapiens are underneath the human umbrella. So they've used the word human from the Anunnaki to put it round all the species of hominids, which it wasn't. But anyway, that's so. I'm not knocking. I'm just saying. I think what you're saying is all Homo sapiens or Homo sapiens sapiens have pineal gland. Fine. Yeah, I would agree with that. Kelly's wrote, great chat tonight. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much, Kelly. Thank you. It's nice of you to say. It means a lot, actually. It does when I hear people enjoying it. Chara's wrote, what was the? Not sure what the rest of that means. Collins wrote, we're 50 million years old. When you say we are you referring to the Homo sapiens, or are you referring to the, dare I say it, modern human terminology for Homo sapiens, but as the collective, as the hominids? Because the oldest hominid we found is sort of around 4.3 million years old. That's not to say there isn't older ones, but if you've got the evidence to point to a human that is 50 million years old, I would love to see it, and so would, I'm sure, mainstream. If you're saying the planet's 50 million years old, I would love to see how you got that date, because mainstream uses, as you know, dating by isotopes. So I'd be very interested to know how you got that. Colin's probably thinking, maybe I should just follow this guy and stop typing. So, sorry, Colin. It happens. Don't worry, because people do come out with things that they don't have evidence for, etc., and eventually they end up following. So it's probably easier to just follow now. And I know it sounds so big. I'm just trying to cut to the chase because I know what's going to happen later on. You're going to say something where I'm going to get kind of annoyed and disprove you and point out evidence, etc., and then you're going to hate me. So you might as well just follow me now, and we'll both be friends. Shara's right. Oops, I didn't mean to write that. Oh, right, that was that one that got cut off. No worries. Jane had pointed out to Colin, humans haven't been around for 50 million years. See, my moderators know stuff. Diaz wrote, what do you know about the S4 facility? Was it where EB1 was? So originally, Area 51 was the first one that was built, apparently. S4 Groom Lake was fairly near it, but that was apparently built after Area 51. So Area 51 was built to put the materials, etc., from the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base when they got hold of crashed UFOs, such as the Roswell one. So my belief is that Area 51 was the first place that they would have had the bodies of Ebens. That's not to say they didn't move them around. If you're on about the one that was living, I can't tell you exactly where it was. I mean, there's some stories say it was S4, some say Area 51. So I can't tell you. Maybe they moved him backwards and forwards. It's not. They're not that far apart from each other. So I can't answer it because it's. So yeah, I can't answer about the Eben for sure. Sorry, D. Good question though. Go number 3 in the class. Collins wrote, Enki changed the genetics of the hominid species living on this planet. Yeah, that's right. He did. He tells us exactly where they were. So if you're interested, there's a tablet called Enki and Nimna. And he tells Nimna to go and nip off the clay from the Abzu, from the top of the Abzu. And now clay, if you translate it, you can also translate it to living organism or life even. So it's not clay as in real clay, it's actually life. And the top of the Abzu was Levant, which is where the Neanderthals were. So it kind of all makes sense that we've got Neanderthal DNA. JT Mellows wrote they'll just move the moon back. I'll get my lasso out and pull it back. Nicole's wrote, what type of treatments did the Anunnaki use to heal themselves when sick? Good question. I have been asked about medicines before. I'm trying to figure out where to put you in the class. I think you're already 3 in the class. I'm a new live chat. If you want to come along, you'll see whether you're 3 already. But so you stay in 3 if you're already in 3. It's a good question. But I think I've had this one before. So anyway, Irvin Finkel, Dr. Irvin Finkel, actually has written a book, if I'm not mistaken, on the medicines that they use. The Sumerian. So basically, the Anunnaki taught the Sumerians how to do medicine, because there's no point in us trying to learn because we wouldn't have a clue back then about medicines and where to get them. So the Anunnaki taught us certain medicines, but bearing in mind Nimna was the chief medical officer. And of course we was taught things in schools. I mean, that's where we learnt money, agriculture, that's where we learnt everything from the Anunnaki. So they would have taught us medicines, which has been written down in tablets by the Sumerians, not necessarily the Anunnaki, but the Anunnaki do, in certain instances where they're not well or whatever, they do write down what they used, but it's normally plants or a name that doesn't match anything that we're aware of. But the book that Irvin Finkel, Dr. Irvin Finkel, head curator of the British Museums, wrote, does actually go through the list of medicines. And basically, it's really funny. If you should listen to him talking about it. Basically, they start off, so they've got these tablets where they go to a person's house, or a doctor would go to a person's house. So forgetting the Anunnaki, we're talking about humans at the moment, but we got the info from the Anunnaki. They'd go to a human's house, and then they'd find out what's wrong with that person, and then they'd look through their tablets to see, stone tablets, to see what matches the description. So if it's like, a leg bleeding, then get the plant from blah blah blah, wrap it round, and it gives the instructions of what to do. So wrap it round the leg, and in 2 days it'll be fine. That kind of thing. And so there's different tablets for everything, but there's one tablet. This is what makes you laugh. There's one tablet that he said that they used as a last resort, and you think, oh bloody hell, what's that? Like, chop the guy's leg off or what? And it says, if all else fails, this is the cure that will solve everything. And you think, well, hang on a minute, why don't you just freaking use that first? So there must be side effects to it. But yeah, so there's a tablet that explains what to do if you can't solve a problem, basically, and use this particular thing. So sometimes they use incantations as well. Thank you, Nicole. An incantation isn't what people think. People think it's an incantation where they go, the devil is good, all clap hands, some sort of ritual thing. It's not. It's just an explanation of what's happening. So you would do an incantation, but over time somehow we've ended up thinking that means some sort of bring up a spirit or something like that. It wasn't. It was just them explaining what's happening. So that's all. Yeah. So they did incantations sometimes, which kind of, like what we pray. They would just do an incantation out as if it's normal. It'd be like, right, I'm doing this because, and then just speak it out loud, not necessarily to the patient or anything. So some people could argue, well, you're talking to a spirit, then maybe you're talking to. I suppose you could argue that. I guess, hoping that the spirit might help. I guess, but really, what an incantation is just explaining, talking out loud. Joshua wrote, God, determinism, and quantum entanglement. So unfortunately, that's incorrect. I know you don't follow me, so you're going to probably hate me for saying this with evidence. But basically, the word God comes from the original word for Dingir, which is the race name for what you may know as the Anunnaki. So the Anunnaki's race name is Dingir, which we then translate into Bibles, into ancient tablets, into papyrus, into stone walls in Egypt, in Greece, in Rome, India, as gods, because that's their race name. That's why they're all called gods. Funny, isn't it? How all of these old ones are called gods. None of them's called, Scooby-Doo or anything else. They're called gods. Why do we always translate it to gods? Why? You can probably guess. So when you wrote God is determinism and quantum entanglement, no, it's not actually. It's a race that came here, built those buildings, and their race name is gods. Keith has wrote 12068, half of a royal cubit. Okay, I'll take your word for that. I haven't got my brain on to work out. But okay, not sure really that was a question or anything, but okay. We do get, just to let you guys know, a bit of fun here. We do get people that come in, listen to me, realise, my God, this guy knows a hell of a lot. And then what they do is to try and, I don't know, pee in the wind, so to speak, or try and, buff their chest out. They just quote things, totally random things that they've learned or heard. And so it makes them feel like they're part of a conversation, even though it's nothing to do with, they'll just say things like, half of a royal cubit is, and then the next message will be, the Anunnaki ate bread. Okay. And then so that's what happens sometimes, because it's like, I guess it's an ego thing. That's fine. That's all good. Scrolling down. Cotsworth wrote, did the Anunnaki mention both Tree of Life and Tree of Knowledge? Are the symbolic euphemism? They do mention the Tree of Life. I have done a documentary on the Tree of Life if you're interested. Tree of Knowledge is slightly different because you got... It seems to be slightly different. So Tree of Knowledge, from my understanding, I mean, you got Yggdrasil, which I'm guessing you all guys know what that is as well, from Norse. It's a tree, but so from my understanding, I don't have evidence for it. From my understanding, you got the Tree of Life, which was some sort of plant. My estimate is it's a wood-based plant which goes up about a foot, 2 foot tall. You can get these sort of small plants. I've looked into it. You can get these plants that are the base is sort of like made out of wood, and then the leaves come out the top, and then they're only like a foot or two tall. That's what I think from the carvings and from the real fact that there is these type of plants, and the fact that Gilgamesh had the elixir plant, the plant of life or tree of life. I believe, and obviously someone took it because the Gilgamesh was taking it. So if it was a massive, redwood tree, as big as Gilgamesh was, 6.5 foot, he's not going to be able to carry a tree. And it makes you laugh when Jurassic Park, when a T-Rex bashes through the tree. I love the film, but that's not going to happen. You ever tried walking through a 2x4? That's the equivalent of us walking through a 2x4, running through a 2x4, as a dinosaur running through a tree. Unless that tree was rotten to hell, there is no way that dinosaur would have broke that tree when it runs after the car. Anyway, sorry. Don't ever watch a film with me. I'll be like, that's not right. No, I'm quiet. I am quiet when I watch a film. So the tree. So that's what I think the Tree of Knowledge, Tree of Life is a plant stroke tree. I mean, they're actually called trees, even though they're plants as such. Or some people call them plants, some people call them trees. The knowledge part is something different. It's I don't know what it is. I'll be honest. I don't know what the Tree of Knowledge is. It may just be as simple as a teacher. That's where I ended up going with that. Like the teacher teaching and then the students learning. So it may be more symbolic, as you say, but we don't have a Tree of Knowledge. Obviously, no one's no one's found a Tree of Knowledge, but we do have plants that have medicinal purposes that can not necessarily extend life, but certainly heal us or rejuvenate us, as some people in certain countries are used to taking certain substances that they feel rejuvenated. So yeah, so it's a fair question. Go number 3 in the class for that. I can't answer it properly, but hopefully that helped. Scrolling down, this is live. I read every single question out. People chatting to each other. Collins wrote, to stop him killing him and to keep from the corruption, and the keeper of the flame, so as to preserve. Didn't I mention earlier we get people that just say random things? Sorry, Colin, I'm trying to understand unless you was talking to someone, and I apologise if you was, but I'm guessing that might have been replying to something. I'm not sure what that's for. Sorry. Cotsworth, do you think the Anunnaki had a sense of humour apart from the humans? Any jokes? Only one time I've read where they laughed, and it was translation from the Moorhens, and it made sense. It was actually a point where King Anu found out on his own planet that Enki had been breeding with the humans, which no one had done at that point. So King Anu laughed and said something like, "I thought as much." So yes, they do laugh. I mean, at least I've said before on live, they're not going to sort of write down knock jokes on stone tablets. Shame, it would have been fun. Not who's there? Anu who? Anunnaki. Thank you, Chantel. But yeah, they did laugh. They from everything that I've read, they had all the same emotions, the seven deadly sins as us, and there's nothing that I've come across that sort of made me say, they don't have empathy. They do. There's nothing that's made me say, they don't have anger. They do. Jealousy. They do. So they have everything that we can think of. Now, how bad, you tell me. I mean, it's hard to know because obviously they looked at us as pretty much insignificant. So to wipe us out was no problem for them. They created us, so it's fine for them. So it's hard to know, how much hatred they had towards us, if any, all that kind of stuff. It's hard to quantify. But Collins wrote truth of who I'm guessing truth of who we are and what we are. Well, we're part Anunnaki and we're part Neanderthal. If you're interested, I've got a documentary you could watch. Cotsworth wrote, how many Anunnaki does it take to change a light bulb? If we go by the Dandara light bulb, which may or may not be a light bulb, so those of you who don't know, there's a place in Egypt called Dandara, and there's a carving on the wall with what looks like a light bulb with a filament inside. Now, some people say it's a snake, which could be, but then there's a cable coming off of this object, large object, huge object, and going to a box, which is underneath the chair that someone's sitting on, one of the Anunnakis is sitting on. Now, is that a light bulb? Hard to say. I mean, nowadays, do we even, we've got things that don't sort of have light bulbs as such that can produce light. I mean, look at my phone. It's producing light and it's not a bulb. So could it have been a light bulb? Hard to say. It's certainly strange. It's a one of a kind, whatever it is. So I don't know how many Anunnaki it would take to change a light bulb. Depends on how tall their ceiling is, I guess. Collins wrote, true. Collins wrote, but Enki fell in love with his creation as a father to his child. He did indeed, spot on. Yes, he did. Yeah, he in fact, in one translation, he says, we're his favourite creation. And you could think, well, hang on a minute, how many more did he do? And then just look at the Belurus tablets. Go look at Belurus tablets if you don't know. Go look for them and you'll see what other types of creatures he created. This is, again, from back then. It's not a modern tablet talking about it or anything. It's really interesting. Collins wrote, there's the creator gods as we deem them were just extraterrestrials whose ego took over them. Yeah, I guess, yeah. Yeah, they created us and they did have egos. I can't argue with that. I mean, Marduk certainly did in the Enuma Elish. So, yeah, can't argue with that one. Cotsworth wrote, Kincaid went to the Grand Canyon, I believe. Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name. I don't have my book here either. Sorry, I apologise. I try and remember everything, but sometimes when I write these books, when I finish the book, I think, thank God for that, I don't have to keep remembering because now it's out in the book or now it's out in a video. And I know it sounds really bad. You think, well, hang on a minute, you should know everything that you research and remember. But I can't keep every little detail, and I'm not a god. Really, I'm not. Keithers wrote, the lime on the pyramids were heat shields. You mean the outer casing, I'm guessing you mean. I'm going to help you out because you follow me, because obviously you don't have any evidence that they were. So I'm going to help Keith out. Keith said, I believe the lime on the pyramids were heat shields. Interesting. Scrolling down, Stranos wrote, yes, they cut us off. I'm sorry, I'm not sure where I was at that point. I'm trying to be as quick as I can, so I don't know what I was talking about at that point. I apologise. James wrote 7:30. Yeah, I'm 25 minutes behind, so I'm going to be as quick as I can. Stranos wrote exactly. Thank you, Jane, Goddess Jane. Now I feel bad for anyone that I've not called Goddess or another name. I can't win, can I? But thank you. Collins wrote, the pyramids are acoustic and it's soul machine, allowing souls to travel interdimensionally. So there's a few problems there, Colin. Sorry, don't hate me. I mean, you're probably learning now how I work. So first of all, there's a documentary coming out from the world's best researcher, and it's called "Why the Pyramids Were Built." So unfortunately, it's not a soul machine, because you realise, Colin, there's 1,000 pyramids worldwide. So worldwide. So you'll then say, oh well, maybe there's 1,000 soul machines needed worldwide back in the day when there was virtually hardly any humans left after the Great Flood. Bearing in mind there's only there was only 900 Anunnaki here. Possibly went up to 2,000. It's hard to say because obviously they come and go, but no, it's not. And the other problem to your point there, Colin, I know you don't follow me. So we go by evidence on this channel, and we don't have evidence of a second dimension. You said travel interdimensional. So if we asked you for the evidence of that, you'll just go, oh crap, I've kind of made that all up because I believe that. Then say you believe it at the beginning, Colin. I'm not knocking you. I'm just trying to help you out here because I'm a nice guy, turns out, believe it or not. And if I wasn't, and you came onto a channel, they'd say, right, show me your evidence right now that it was a shell machine. And you'd go, well, I don't have any, because you won't. I've been doing this so long, Colin, I know what the pyramids were for. That's why I'm doing that documentary. But you don't have that knowledge, and I know you don't, because you wouldn't be saying the things you're saying. So we don't have any evidence of another dimension, let alone evidence that the pyramids were built for souls to travel interdimensionally. We don't have any evidence of that whatsoever. So if you believe something, say I believe at the beginning. You'll hear me say I believe. If I don't have the evidence, I'll say I believe, because I don't want to get shot down. I never want to get made look stupid. So if you can just do that in the future, Colin. Otherwise, someone will ask you for the evidence, and then you'll be backed into a corner, and you'll hate me. One of the moderators may have already asked you. Yeah, scrolling down, James wrote, please show evidence to support your statement. See? Now you're going to hate me, Colin, and you're going to hate the moderator. And all the moderator's doing is trying to learn, because if you've got evidence, which I know you haven't, but if you had evidence, we'd want to see it, because we're here to learn. Stranos wrote, yes, I did. I'm slightly behind, so I don't know what that was referring to. Collins wrote, no, he said behind the poles. No, he didn't. He said, I'll quote it one more time. I've got a documentary on it. I've read it out so many times. I've put it in books so many times. Beyond the pole in the South Pole. So now, Colin, now you're trying to say that I'm lying or I've made a mistake. That doesn't work with me, Colin. So now you've just become public enemy number 3. Colin, don't do that. You know you're going to get caught out. It doesn't say that. No, he said behind the poles. No, he didn't. I've actually done freaking TikTok videos, thousands of them, where, well, not thousands, but loads of TikTok videos where I keep showing the same clip. Beyond the pole, in the South Pole. Oh, man. Colin, it's nice that you're trying to, catch me out. It's not going to happen. No one has. So it's not going to. I'm doing this 4 years, been doing research 40 plus years. Colin, it's probably now I'm going to see, now next thing you say, I'm going to ask you for evidence, even though Jane's already asked you for the other one, and now I'm going to make you look silly and you're going to be angry at me, and I don't want people to be angry at me. Just learn from me, Colin. Learn. Nicole's wrote, looking forward to your own live site where you have a bit more space to ask the questions in a better way. I'm guessing that's going to be. Yeah. So for those of you interested, I am limited on TikTok, as you can clearly see. Normally we used to have hundreds of people. So I've set up my own live chat. It will be up fingers crossed, week or so, where you can type in a lot more words and you can get so much better. Trust me, you guys have seen it, some of you already. Kerry's even pointed out, he said beyond. Kerry's watched the same documentary. Collins wrote, yes, from the first man, Adam. And that's going back to the other point about the first thing. I'm kind of losing track now because I'm slightly behind. Collins wrote, no planet is over 500 million years. Oh, Colin. You know, we're 4.5 to 4.6. Some say 6 billion years old, as Kerry's pointed out. Colin, you've got no. Okay, what you've done now is you've said a few things, and one quite personal, where obviously you're wrong. You've not given any evidence for anything. You keep saying stuff that's completely wrong. At what point? I'm just trying to work out, because are you going to suddenly switch and go, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. I've been caught out by him and his moderators. I'll shut up now. Or are you egotistical? I'm being honest, because I am. Are you egotistical and won't relinquish your fallacies and say, fair enough, I'm not going to say anymore because everything that I have said is being caught out? I don't know. I'm just asking, Colin. I'm trying to get into your psyche. I'm trying to work out what kind of person you are. Obviously a wrong one, but either way. Scrolling down, Strano wrote, so glad I found this page. Thank you very much, Strano. I know I come across egotistical, but trust me, I put the work in. I really, really do. Just watch one of my documentaries, one of my long ones. In fact, for you who are fairly new here today, on my Patreon page, you don't have to pay, just register. There's a video on who Lucifer was. It's there. So if anyone's already interested in finding out, one of the first few people on the planet to know who Lucifer was with evidence, I've got it. It's on that documentary and it's free for this weekend. It's normally a couple of quid to subscribe for the hundreds of videos I've got, and more added every week. But yeah, so the Lucifer one is definitely one you should watch if you're interested. Someone said it was fabulous. Someone had watched it today and come back and said it was fabulous, which is fantastic to read. Nicole's wrote, do any of the tablets indicate fears the Anunnaki had, like how we may fear death or ghosts, for example? You're Andy, if you're still here, Nicole's coming right up there, isn't she? With all these questions. It used to be Trinox. Do you remember Trinology? And then it went to Brian, and then Andy, and it's a bit of a battle now between Andy and Nicole. Brilliant question. Do the tablets indicate the fears Anunnaki had? Go number one, and I can't remember where you are already, but it's a really good question. So no, well, yes and no. So they mentioned fears like the tablets that I mentioned before, the tablets of destiny, when they were taken, the Anunnaki crapped themselves. So that kind of fear, yes. Fear of dying. Well, we know Gilgamesh had a fear of dying because that's the whole reason why he went off in his epic. So we know he was a demigod, and that's understandable because obviously his lifespan's shorter than his mother's, who was an Anunnaki. I'm just trying to think now. Give me a sec. Is there anything they said they were scared of? 2 seconds. Let me think. See, they slain, and this is true. There's a few tablets where they talk about they slain one of the Anunnaki in order to create us. I can't imagine that guy going lightly. Yeah, all right, yeah, off you go, do whatever you need to do. But maybe they did. Maybe that's maybe they don't have that kind of fear. Alula was frightened of a snake, but he'd never seen one before when he first came to Earth, and so it made him jump. So you could say, because he thought it was a stick, so you could say but being scared of something because it made you jump, is that really scared? Probably not. It's a one-off, I guess. I can't think of anything they've said. Um, really, fear over control. Enlil had his dream about losing control to Marduk. So those kind of fears, I think they mentioned more than scared of a spider or something like that. So it's a good question. It's the only things that's not to say they weren't scared of things, but how many times do you write down, in stone tablets? Yeah, I'm scared of a spider or a butterfly or something like that. Could you imagine someone being scared of a butterfly? I don't know. Is there a thing? Is that a thing? I don't know. Um, bless. But yeah, so yeah, thank you, Nicole. It's a good question. Yeah, so only matters of democracy really is probably the best word for it that I've read. Scrolling down, Cosmic Tube has wrote, "It's a wee bit older than you think. Sophia's mistake is ours." I'd be interested to know what you're referring to there. I don't know if you're talking to the other guy that was talking about the planet's time older than we thought, or something else. I'd be interested to know what you're referring to. Clarkey has wrote, "What do you think about prison planet theory?" I don't. Energy doesn't die. So if these orbs are real, and I do believe they are, then they can go to anywhere they want, forwards and backwards in time, and we know they can go forwards and backwards in time, because when a dead person talks to through a clairvoyant or whatever, and tells the clairvoyant things that's happened in the past that only the person that's sitting opposite them would know, the loved one couldn't do that when they were alive. So clearly Einstein's equation is correct, E equals mc squared. So which means as an orb you don't have any mass, and therefore you can, you're not subjected to the mass. Time is to do with the planet, believe it or not, if you believe the theory of how time works. So, which is kind of true, I guess. And so time is relative to the density. So going back to your question, the prison planet idea is really to do with the orbs, or the reincarnation of people going round and round. I don't see it as a prison planet. I see it as, because we're just, there's so many different animals and insects, etc. I see it as, the orbs are joining with the pineal gland, and they can go back in time and join with Cleopatra 20 times if they wanted to. And so you could have 20 different orbs that had been with Cleopatra, 20 totally different orbs. So people that say, "Oh, I have a previous life as Cleopatra," and another one says it, you say, "Well, of course you can't. Two of you can't be the same person," but they can, because they just go back. So once Cleopatra's died, another orb goes back in time and joins with the. So I could have done this 1,000 times for all I know. So I don't think it's a prison planet. I think it's just another place for the orbs to learn. That's all they want to do. And if you're eternal, like an orb would be, because it's energy, you'd be bored crapless unless you had some experiences. And so by joining with people or animals or whatever it is, you'd be gaining a different insight to watching it from outside. You'd be thinking the same things, the emotions and everything. But if you was just watching TV, you don't get the same, like we're watching TV, we don't get the same emotions as the people in the TV. So that's what I think it is. So I don't think it's a prison planet at all. Cosmic Tube has wrote, "It's funny though their plan." Sorry, is it funny though their plan? I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm slightly behind. Apologise again. I hate not answering stuff. I don't know whether that's to do with the depopulation plan. I'm not sure. Cosmic has wrote 3-1 to hold 2 to turn the house. Maybe it's not me that's confused. Then sorry, Cosmic. I'm struggling on what that one is. I feel bad. Sorry. Stranners wrote, "That is the light bulb." Ah, right. Okay. So Cosmic was probably right. Okay, I get it now. So Cosmic wrote how many Anunnaki to build put a light bulb in. Cosmics wrote 3, 1 to hold and 2 to turn the house. Ah, very good. I like it now. Ah, thank God for that. I felt really bad, and now it actually makes sense. So sorry about that. Thank you. Brilliant. Darwin's wrote, "What are you doing now? Not more milk." Only a little bit, and give me some because I haven't had a drink. Darwin's wrote, "Please could you talk about why they inbred with each other, even with their knowledge of genetics?" So we can't say that all of the Anunnaki bred with each other. We know the royals bred with each other. So in other words, Enki's and Enlil's bloodline. We don't know about, Viziers and all the other Anunnakis that mean nothing. Well, I say mean nothing. It's sad to say that, but not the ones that didn't mean anything to the royals. Otherwise, they would have written them down a lot more. So I can only tell you about the royals. The reason why they inbred was because of when they thank you, Clark. They had. Sorry, I'm just gonna have a sip, guys. Sorry. They had. Sorry, they had a war on their planet, according to the Moorhen's translations, which makes sense because we do, and we're like them, so we would have. Yeah. Sorry, Clark's asking for something. So when they finally had a cease on the war on their planet, what they'd done was had one person from one part of the planet and the other person. So it seems like they had at least 2 continents. One was fighting against the other, and by Clark, and they had an agreement that one would marry from basically the story of Romeo and Juliet type thing, or West Side Story. One would marry from the other side to keep the peace. So they did that. So one side had Anne, not Anu, Anne, and the other side had a female. They don't write her name down, but so Anne was the king, the very first king of Nibiru, of the whole planet. So what he then decreed in law is that only by succession, they called it the line of succession, only by the line of succession would someone be entitled to be king. So as from those two, the king and the queen, anyone thereafter, any of their children or their children's children or their children's children or their children's children could be a king, no one else. So as time went on, that line of succession allowed the Anunnaki, the royals, to have concubines, to have kids, but they would also then breed with ideally with their half sister or half brother, so that they could have more of a direct line of succession. And that's how it played out. And there was one period where they stopped doing that, and it changed, and then another king came back and put that back in. So basically they inbred. Now, as you say, with the genetics, how come they didn't have deformities? For all I know, they probably did. Nurgle was a bit of an idiot, so for all I know, he could be deformed mentally, not necessarily physically, but certainly could be deformed mentally. But was that good enough for them? Maybe it was. Or, did they not have that same issue? Did they have medical technologies that would stop, any defects before it happened? I mean, obviously they knew how to certainly create us. So could they have looked at, the embryo or the markers that would have caused a deformity and got rid of it before that even happened? I don't know. So it's a fair question. Go number 3 in the class, but I can't answer it. But other than the fact that that's the line of succession, that's why Enlil, who was younger than Enki, was in charge, because he was the younger of the two. But his mother was the proper wife of King Anu, whereas Enki's mother was a concubine to King Anu. And that's how it all plays out. So that's why we still have that, all through the years in our human history, we had kings inbreeding. Cosmics wrote, "Who's holding the lion? Who's holding the spear?" So Ninurta's the spear, and Gilgamesh was the lion. Cosmic Tubes wrote, "Forgive me, I'm still shoveling to cover history." No worries at all. I'm here to help. Cosmic Tubes, there's a dude in America claiming to be the tier in the universe. Yeah, ignore him, whoever he is. There's a lot of people out there claiming a lot of stuff. Hell of a lot. I mean, yeah, just obviously, the thought that someone here on this little planet in the middle of, not even in the middle of the universe, just so happens to be the tier of the universe out of the whole billions and billions and probably trillions and Christ knows how many planets out there. And we're lucky enough to have the tier of the universe here, and he's just a normal dude on TikTok, probably. Yeah, I'd pass on that one if I was you. Kelly's wrote, "What is the new chat thing you have? I'm a member of Patreon, but would like to follow you on chat." Oh, thank you, Kelly. It's really nice of you to say. So, as you can see, we never get past the 40 mark. I say 30 because normally it goes down to back to 30 all the time, but we've been lucky today. So yeah, we used to have hundreds of people in this live chat, but TikTok's limited me. When I've contacted them, they've admitted that, having 250,000 followers, I should have more than 30 people listening to me. So to solve that problem, and TikTok and Instagram and YouTube do the same, to solve that problem, I've created my own live chat on my website. So it's just like this. You type in, but on my one, we're not limited to what I talk about. We're not limited to the amount of people that come. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to do anything other than type a name. You could be any name. You could just be Fred for all I care. It doesn't matter. I'll still read out the question. So I won't know who you are if you don't. If you're a TikTok user or whatever, and you want to change your name, no worries at all. I won't know who you are. So it allows the numpties out there in the world, the flat earthers and whatever else, to come and join in, because I don't care. I'm not. They don't have to register, don't have to pay, don't have to do anything. So also on my live chat, there's the moderators have got better facilities as well. You also have longer text to writing. There's so many other features in there that TikTok doesn't have that we have. So I've been working on that. So once it's done, I will let everyone know where it is, and then you'll just click a notification, and you'll be notified on your phone or computer that Our True History is going live. So you can join, because TikTok doesn't notify people when I go live. So that's another problem. So yes, you would be more than welcome. It will store your picture as well. So when you come back, it will remember your name. You can change your name again the second time if you want. Doesn't matter. And you can change your picture. Whereas here, you can only, you're stuck with your TikTok picture. On mine, you can change your picture every week if you want, or every time I do a live, or you can change it 10 times in a live. It doesn't matter. Everything's made to be accessible. And to reply to someone, you just press a little blue button beside their message, and it says @ and then you reply. Everything's made so much easier than what TikTok does. So yes, I would love you guys there. Thank you for asking. Cosmic Tubers wrote, "Control of the energy, and what energy? Our minds." Cosmic Tubers wrote, "Physics proves multiple dimensions." No, it doesn't, unfortunately. See, so let me explain something to you. Oh, he's been blocked. Oh, what a shame. I was just about to educate. So let me educate everyone else to understand how life works. So he's wrote, "Physics proves multiple dimensions." Now, in order to know what a second dimension or third dimension or another dimension is, you would need to look outside of our own dimension to be able to say, I'm now in another dimension. So this guy's would have probably come out with the quantum entanglement. Now, I have done a deep dive in quantum entanglement. Turns out it's not what people think. They all get told, "Oh, you switch one atom on here and the other somewhere else, it'll switch off." No, it doesn't work like that. Trust me. Go watch my documentary on quantum entanglement. So the other thing is, even if quantum entanglement was 100% successful, which is not, and it does go somewhere, a particle goes somewhere. Who's to say it's not gone to the end of our universe? We don't know what the other end of our universe looks like. So it could be the same, as another dimension for all we know. We don't know because we've not seen another dimension. So when this person put physics proves multiple dimensions, we got no evidence whatsoever of one dimension other than the one we're in. So no, it's wrong. Jane had pointed out to this person, in theory, not in fact, unless you have actual evidence. Which, well done, Jane. And then he's wrote black. I'm guessing it's a he. Then most numpties are blokes. Let's be honest. It's a lower realm created by the false creator. So there you go. So he's basically made up crap. The false creator. So what? Who would be the false creator? See, I would have taught. And there's Kerry's also wrote, there's no empirical evidence, it's all theoretical. Jane has wrote to Cosmic, please show your evidence to support your claim. Do you know what, guys, moderators, I should, on the new live chat, I should have, so you don't have to keep typing these things like show your evidence. I should have it so that you've got a button and it automatically writes it all out for you already. What do you think of that? Let me know. Cosmics wrote, Jane, a particle isn't anything until it's observed. No, unfortunately, again, that's incorrect. So you're talking about the slit experiment. So unfortunately, numpties, which I'm guessing Cosmic falls into that category, numpties don't quite grasp how the slit experiment works. So basically, the slit experiment says that a number of particles go through a slit. I'm being very basic here. Goes through a slit. Now, if it's observed by a camera, by a device, by a person, then the number of particles don't match the same number that went through previously. In other words, the particles now hit a wall instead of all going through the slit. So people like Cosmic Tube says, well, therefore it's because it's being observed. No. Once you add something else into the equation, such as a camera, equipment, or a person, you've now changed the parameters of that test. Now, you could say, oh, well, a person staring at it won't affect. We actually let off energy. It's a fact. We let off energy. So, crazy, stupid people. Sorry. Anyway, Cosmics wrote, "We are the eyes you see." No, we don't see. Kerry's still asking for proof of multiple dimensions. Cosmic says Epstein. Do you mean Einstein or do you mean Epstein? Because I doubt if Epstein had any evidence of multiple dimensions, but oh god, these people walk among us. Jane has wrote 8 p.m. time check. Okay, I still haven't managed to catch up. Cosmic has wrote, an animal is a passive observer, we are the creators. What a load of crap. We're animals. We're no different from what, because we can build something? Is that it? A freaking squirrel's smarter than us. A chimpanzee in certain aspects is faster and smarter than us. Crazy. Cosmic has wrote, I love my dog as well. Cats aren't trapped in the Matrix. We got one of those people. One of those people. Do you know what the funny thing is, ladies and gentlemen? I'm just going to have a quick drink. This will make you laugh. Do you know what the funny thing is? I've been doing this over 40 years. No one said anything about a Matrix until the movie came out, and now everything's, oh, we're in a Matrix. Hardly anyone said we're in an AI simulation until AI came out. You get the pattern, don't you? It's like, oh god. Darwin's wrote, sorry for repeating, but, and then there's something else underneath, I guess. Cosmic wrote, Kerry is Valentine's Day, send love. Darwin's wrote, not everyone has a pineal gland, so can't have an orb. How can this be? It's rare, but it can happen. So I did do a chat that's not come out yet regarding, I think it's not come out yet, regarding the pineal gland, and I did look into whether or not everyone should have a pineal gland. We should all have a pineal gland. There's not any cases other than completely. There's a person out there with only 15% of his brain still actually lives quite well, surprisingly. So if it's missing like that, then yes, it's probably, but it's literally in the center of our brain. So if that's missing, then we got issues. So in order for people to know whether it's missing, someone would need to scan the whole brain and then even look for it, because it's a tiny little thing. So I did look into it. I couldn't see anyone that's sort of normal person that's not missing half their brain or something like that. Is just randomly missing a pineal gland. I don't think doctors even would look for that. If they're looking for tumor or something, they probably wouldn't look right in the center of the brain. Thank you, 14. Thank you very much. Cosmics wrote to Kerry, evidence is my DNA. So you agree then that the Anunnaki created us? Cool. Even though you said false earlier. False creators. Cosmics wrote, the Archons are, for good's sake. So just to let anyone know, my research, I've never found any evidence of Archons whatsoever. I've heard the name from Numpties, and funny enough, Cosmic's now slightly fallen into that slit of observable. Do you get it? Anyway, Archons are watching, and in a few weeks, the God of the Bible has to answer. Do you know what? He's probably said that a year ago to someone else. Oh, well, obviously the God of the Bible, well, there's many gods of the Bible, in fact, if you know how to read the Bible. But I do enjoy these people. This is what keeps these live chats going. Cosmics wrote, put yourself in the future. James wrote to Cosmic, are you okay? I can laugh because, as I say, I was the thickest kid in school. Seriously, big school, huge school. Absolutely the dumbest kid there was. So, I feel like I'm qualified to spot out numpties. Cosmic has wrote, Kerry, you are therefore stuck in the third dimension since your mind can't comprehend anything else. There's a difference between comprehending and actually having evidence for something. Stranos wrote, have you studied possible giants? Absolutely, yes, many, many, many times. Have documentaries on them. I'm the one that solved what the actual word Nephilim means. It's not exactly what we all thought it meant. I'm the only person that's worked that out. It sounds big-headed, but I'm just saying it because I'm very proud of my research. I've got a documentary on that. So yes, I've looked into. I've written a whole chapter in one of my books on giants. So yes, I've certainly studied giants. Yeah. Cosmics wrote, he's so far behind. Well, don't be rude. Oh, matron. Sorry. Cosmics wrote, should I cite Stephen Hawking's Jane? You can do. If you want to watch my documentary on how smart, it's called How Smart Was Stephen Hawking's, you'll see that he has theories, and only theories are based upon theories. So when the reason why I did that video, I know it's going to sound really egotistical. I wanted to see who were geniuses. I've been called a genius many times in my life, not being big-headed. I have, for some of the things I've done, figured out, created, whatever it is. And I'm very proud of that. But there's the name genius is bannered around for people like Stephen Hawking. So I wanted to see whether him, Einstein, Isaac Newton, etc., were proper geniuses, or whether they are just theories upon theories. And when you look at my documentaries on Stephen Hawking's, Isaac Newton, and all those people, you'll find there's only one genius that didn't copy someone else, that didn't follow on from some other person that had already started something. There's only one, and that was, and you're all going to say, no, it's me, isn't it? No, it's not. I thank you very much for thinking of that, but it was Da Vinci, Leonardo. He's the only one that could do things that no one else had come up with prior. Even what's his name? Nostradamus. Even he copied the idea of putting things in books from prior to other people hid things in books. So, Einstein worked at a patent office and carried on working after he was famous. So he was getting information that way. Stephen Hawking's, his theories don't hold water, unfortunately. You go watch the videos, you'll see. I know it sounds like how can you be smarter than Stephen Hawking's? Go watch it. Go. Anyway, sorry. Cosmics wrote, or want to tell you the truth. Clarkie's wrote reptilian control. Loosh. Hard to say. I've heard it many a time. I can't say. Obviously, Marduk's on the dollar bill. His symbols are all over it. But whether or not there's another group, another faction fighting for control of Earth, or what, I don't know. Gut feeling is, this is just my gut feeling, so you don't hold me to it. Gut feeling is Anunnaki are in control of the planet. It's their planet after all. When they came here, they wouldn't have left. It's only been a few months of their time since Jesus was born, so they've not left. But the I think there is a federation of aliens, or council of aliens, whatever you want to call it, galactic federation, whatever you want to call it. I think there is. It'd be stupid if there wasn't. I mean, we have coalitions, even in simple parliaments. Sometimes when when we're trying to vote for people, we end up here in the UK, ended up with a hung parliament, and we end up with two groups joining together. So it makes sense for there to be a council of aliens. Would they allow a reptilian race to come and take over? Probably not. If the stories are true about the reptilian race going around, taking over planets, would they allow that to happen? Probably not, because it just means one more planet less. It's like chess pieces, basically. If you're losing all your pieces, in other words, all the planets, etc., to another opponent, eventually you're going to be wiped out. So I can't imagine it. The people that do worship, the snakes and stuff, I think these are the same stupid people that think Lucifer was some sort of angelic-y type being, when we've got the evidence on my website of who Lucifer exactly was. So I think those people, there's so many of them around, and we've got some here on the live chat tonight that thinking, we're in a matrix, we're false gods, and in a few weeks God's gonna have to answer for his all that crap. So I think those stupid people, the elites that worship some sort of snake thing, are just thick as crap, or easily led, or controlled. Cosmic has wrote Clarky Sparky Control. Jane's basically saying to this person, the Cosmic Tube, you basically have got no evidence, which is correct. Cosmics wrote, Jane of the Jungle, my new friend. I can see why the moderators blocked this person now. Cosmic Tubers wrote, it's inside you, Jane. And then Kerry's wrote to Jane, isn't that like a 9-year-old? He probably is. Cosmic Tubers wrote, everyone wakes up on their own time. Agent Avatara. Well, it's a new name. God, sir, is reincarnation mentioned among the Anunnaki in the tablets? Oh, that's a good question. I've never read that. The only time I've read reincarnation is to do with the Emerald tablets. And then let me think. I'm thinking now of Egypt with the Book of the Dead, etc. As far as I remember, I don't think the Egyptians even talked about reincarnation. I think they talked about the afterlife. I don't recall anyone coming back from the afterlife. Don't quote me, but I can't remember anything to do with any stories from ancient Egypt, etc., saying do this, do that, and then you'll come back. I know, obviously, you got the wearing a feather and all the, good and bad and all that kind of stuff for the Book of the Dead and the afterlife, but no, I can't. It's a good question. Go number 3 in the class. I can't think of anything that the Anunnaki said about coming back, because if they knew that, I'm not saying they didn't, but if they knew that, would they have told us? Probably not. So I can't say they did or didn't. No. But thank you. It's a good question. Go number 3 in the class. Cosmics wrote, there's a force playing out here, and it's obviously for the upside down. Someone's been watching Stranger Things. I think that 9-year-old is about right, moderators. I think you're right there. Cosmics wrote, Jane, really quick, what evidence do you want to prove your meaningful existence? Now, see, I love the way that this person's tried to change the question. So it's now the questions now suddenly become prove our existence. Well, I think, therefore I am. So therefore I am existing. So that's basically a stupid question because you're trying to catch Jane out. Let's see if Jane catches on and catches you out. Cosmics wrote, agent who isn't don't waste time thinking. I'm guessing he's talking to Avatara. And Avatara's replied back, you make no sense. You are simply looping in spiritual bypass intel. I've got a lot of trolls tonight. I love it. I'm going to put this one up on YouTube. Agent Avatars wrote to Cosmic, find a starseed chat that is in line with your spiritual psychosis. Oh, classic, brilliant. I love that. Get gold star for that, Avatar. I love that. That's brilliant. Cosmic has wrote to Jane, you've proved you had a serious issues and you aren't in control of yourself. Cosmics wrote, see ya. Don't you love it when they have to announce they're going? I'm going now. Please be all upset. Please. Funny. Oh dear. Right, okay, so people chat to each other. Strano's right. What will the name be? Our true history. What will the name be? Our true history. Do you mean the live chat? It's just called Our True History Live Chat. What will the name be? I don't know what you're referring to. I'm sorry. If you're on about what will the name be on YouTube or on Patreon, that's probably what you're on about. Thank you, real truth. Yes, it's Our True History. Yeah, spot on. But you can get to everything from my website if you're interested in anything at all. You can get to everything from my website. Book links, everything, if you're interested. Thank you, Real Truth. How you doing? Hope you're well today. We've had some fun tonight. I'm going to put this one on YouTube. We've had some numpties. You know what it's like, Real Truth. I know you do your lives as well. Strana's wrote, thank you with a heart. Oh, with a flower, sorry. Oh, thank you. Well, happy Valentine's Day to you too. Darwin's wrote, you could have numpty number 1, 2, 3 in the class. Or is that too harsh? I can't remember who I was talking to the other day about that. Thank you, Darwin. I think it might have been Kerry or someone. And the thought did cross my mind But then I thought, well, is that going to scare people off? It's like literally we're ganging up on them by saying that they're stupid. Having one person or two people saying they're stupid, but having it literally plastered on every message that they post. Um, I mean, kind of like the idea of a bell and an end on it with with their comments or something. Yeah, I don't know. I'll let you guys decide. Once you all join the new live chat and it's working all fine, you guys can tell me what you want to add, and we'll add those features. Maybe put a massive laughing face when one of those numpties join or something. Scrolling down. We still haven't really broke the 40 mark, have we? What a shame. The amount of people that says here, join. Time to 8:30. Oh, I've gained 3 minutes. Thank you, Jane. I think that was because of that person that slowed me down. So, scrolling down. People are joining. A lot of people joining. Stacy246 joined twice, one after each other. That's probably because they get kicked out because of TikTok. Scrolling down. Wow, a lot of people joining. I'm catching up now. Actually, I'm near the bottom. Wow, that's 24 minutes suddenly went. Nicole's wrote, do you think the Anunnaki had to deal with Anunnaki numpties too, like we do with other humans? Interesting question. I would say yes, and the reason why I say yes is because when you look at the story of Nurgle, also known as Era and loads of other names, he did something in the Epic of Era that was so stupid and defied all the other gods. And so he's just one person, and you got to remember the tablets that we read about there's only probably let me think, probably about 20 names, maybe 25 names that are repeated in some sort of context that you can get to understand who they are. Thank you, real truth. There's many tablets where you hear one name, you never hear it again. I mean, look at the King's List as a perfect example of names you've never even heard of anywhere else. So we're reading. Thank you, real truth. So when you think about that, they sent down people from their own planet. You'd think they sent down people who were the best of the best. Now Nurgle may have been born on Earth. I'm not sure. But when they sent down people, you'd think they'd send down the best of the best. So, in other words, if these are the best of the best, what's left on the Nibiru is probably not the best of the best. And so, would there be numpties on the Nibiru? I'm just trying to think of things that people have done and said that seem stupid that the Anunnaki's done. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to just think if I've come across anything that I've sort of thought, oh, that was a bit stupid. I'm sure I have. Yeah, there's stupid things they've done. I'm trying to remember them. Mainly when they first came here, when they were setting up lands and they saw lions and things, and they was like, oh, let's set up a base here. Look at those cats. Well, they didn't call them cats, but look at those creatures, which turns out to be lions. You'd think they would go and figure out. Obviously, the lions compared to them were tiny, but I don't know, just little things that they've done over the years that I've read that you just think a little bit of common sense wouldn't have went amiss there. So yeah, I mean, if these are the best of the best, then yes, the answer to your question would be I do think there's stupid people on Nibiru as well. Yeah, whether it's inbreeding or whether it's just people can't be bothered to learn or whatever, or I don't know how it works, but yeah. But yeah, good question. Got number 3 in the class for that. You've got a lot of 3s today. Real Truth has wrote, I'm good, thanks. Hope you're well. Oh, thank you. Yes, not too bad. Thank you very much. Thank you. Darwin's wrote, yes, I agree, but they would deserve it. Yeah, I'm just frightened because we do have a bit of fun with them sometimes. So if they suddenly saw a big sign saying "I'm a numpty" beside their name, would they just suddenly leave and complain to whoever owns the channel? Turns out it's me because we're not going to be limited. So here they could go away and go, he was nasty to me. He called me a numpty because I was being stupid. But yeah, so Kerry's wrote, just use the poopy icon for the numpties. You guys are terrible. I thought I was the bad one. Darwin's wrote, is it just Marduk on Earth at the moment? I can't imagine it being just Marduk, no. Personally, I think Ninurta, who would be next in line for Nibiru, went back. That makes a lot of sense to me. Because when you realise that Enlil gave the right to Earth to Marduk, you could have said, well, why didn't he give it to Ninurta? That's his son. And, next in line for the throne on Nibiru, so he would have been next in line for the throne here on Earth. So you could say, well, that, but because he gave it to allow Marduk to have it, who was Enki's son, it leads me to believe that Ninurta went back to Nibiru to take over Nibiru, which makes so much sense. But what about the others? Well, we know around about 1,000 years ago to 2,000 years ago, we know that the others were still around because we had the pantheon of gods and we had Inanna helping Sargon and all that kind of stuff. So we know they were around to that point. So did they suddenly decide to finally leave 1,000 years ago, give or take? I doubt it. I can't see them doing that. I think they've set their life up here now. I can't see them, other than Ninurta. Can't give you evidence, but that's my thoughts on it. I've come to the bottom of the question, so that gives me a perfect time to go and feed the cats that I should have done about 4 hours ago. Yeah, talking about evil, turns out I'm bad. So I'm going to thank the moderators because you've had a bit of a tough one today. Darwin's wrote, I can't believe they're here as wow, surreal. They would probably be over. My guess is they'd probably be over in the Antarctica where there's no ice that size of America. Just read. Nicole's wrote, thank you for a great live, Artrahasis, aka Ultra History. Someone was paying attention in the class. Get a gold star for that. I did say one day someone would call me Artrahasis, and you was probably holding on to that, weren't you, until the end? You probably had better things to do today because it's Valentine's Day, and yet you held on to that till the end. Very good. I like that. Thank you. And Darwin's wrote, thank you, Archie's Fab Live. No, it's you guys. It's without the questions, etc. It's all you guys, and of course the moderators had to deal with some numpties today. So on my live chat, it's going to be a lot easier for them to deal with. But yeah, we'll keep adding more stuff for the moderators to use against these people in some way or another. Even if it's just a button that they can press just to say the words that they need to say instead of typing it out. They could just press one button and it'll have like a selection of words, or sentences, should I say. So it could say, our true history is the best. No, I'm joking. No, it'll say something like, could you show me evidence for what you've just said, please? And then just press one button and it'll type it out. And then just press enter and it'll send it. So something like that maybe might help the moderators. Anything to help the moderators because they do a fantastic job and they had to put up with a lot tonight. So Darwin's wrote, we love numpties. They're funny. It is good, isn't it? It's nice to see how they change, and end up with the ice wall and we're stuck in a matrix and God in a few weeks is going to have to do something, which made me laugh. So I look forward to a few weeks' time, see what happens. Okay, so I've reached the end. Thank you very much. If you've never listened to me before, just click on my profile. I've got documentaries that you would, I'm sure, love with evidence. Darwin's wrote the one-line statements. Yeah, they do, don't they? But yeah, so thank you guys. Just click on my profile and you'll get to my website and you'll you'll find thousands of documentaries there. Thank you very much, and again to the moderators, absolutely amazing. I'm always indebted to you guys for dealing with those people, and we'll try and over time, if you're still helping me, if you don't mind, we'll try and work out whatever's easiest for you guys to deal with these sort of people somehow. I don't know, but yeah. Stranos wrote, "Thank you, wonderful." Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Well, I'm glad you stayed around and listened. And Jane's wrote, "Night God." Thank you, Goddess Jane, and Ev, because I've now started calling you that. I have to keep calling you that, because if I don't, you'll get upset. So I feel so bad for everyone else. Everyone is wonderful. So thank you, everyone wonderful. And I hope you all have a great Valentine's evening or day, wherever you are. And I will catch you all again very, very soon. Again, gratitude to the moderators. Talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Bye. Bye.